Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show podcast, place about games, friends, and getting better. Thank you for being here. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Leo Vader.
Hello, I've got a sore thigh muscle today, so people who complain about me bouncing around at my standing desk on the video version, it's going to be the same, but it'll hurt me more, so you can take some satisfaction out of that.
Please do it. And the flawless Haley McLean.
What do people? My voice will be even lower than normal. So the people that complain about that,
Oh no.
tough.
We're joined by Charles Hart.
Hey guys, my voice is a little bit higher than normal, and my thighs are limber and lean, ready to swing. So I'll be making up for the two of you.
Here we
Pick
go.
me, Charles.
Which reminds me, we're going to be playing Consume Me and talking about it later on this very podcast. But Charles is here from Game Informer to inform us about the ways of Hades 2. So we're going to be unpacking that in a fun, spoilery-free way. Then we're also talking about Silent Hill F. Specifically, we're getting Kelsey and Sarah to join us for these games coming up here. And then we're talking about Blippo Plus. Can't wait to talk about that. Road to Empress. Can't wait for Sarah to talk about that. And then Kelsey slipped in and she said, as God is my witness, I will talk about Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. And we said, yes, come on in.
What is that? It sounds like a children's book.
Yeah, let's dunk on it. Then the one and only Jason Schreier is going to be joining us on this episode of the podcast to talk about one of his favorite games of all time and the re-release of it, the remaster of it, the remake of it, Final Fantasy Tactics. And then it just so happened to line up well where he's also going to be joining us to talk about EA, the state of EA going private, Saudi Arabia and two other firms purchasing EA. It's a wild saga. And then, of course, back off the show, we have community questions. Thanks to everybody there on Patreon. Greatly appreciate it. Hades 2. Charles Hart, thank you for being here. Thank you for being our escort through the world of Hades 2.
Yes, I'll be the Charon to the River Styx that
Perfect.
is the MinnMax show.
Yes,
I hope he takes that bait for that show.
Yeah, this is where the best of the best. Hades 2. It's so exciting. It's like, you know, we love Hades 1, a lot of us, at MinnMax. And now it's just been like, there's been a cake baking in the oven for years, for 5 years. And they said, you can eat it now. You can eat it now in early access if you want. But, you know, some of the ingredients aren't quite ready yet. And so we've just been holding off. Like I played it a little bit in May of last year. And then I've just been holding off. And now the 1.0 is finally out for Hades 2. And this thing's out. And not only is it out, mama, it's kicking butt. Like, you gave it what score over there at Game Informer?
My first 10 out of 10 score.
Charles' first 10.
Big deal. Not everyone on stat. Matt Miller, Brian Shea have never given a 10. They've been there much longer than I have.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Matt Miller's never given a 10?
That's what he was like, wow, I can't believe it. You did it first.
Wow. He's a really jealous guy. He's probably going to play the next game. Just give it a freaking 10.
It wasn't said in a judgmental way, but they're like, Charles, I mean, you got a 10. I've been here all these years. I never got a 10. That's pretty cool that you got to do that. Like, kind of in a way where they're like, I wish I could review a 10 one day. I've just never felt it yet. Never felt that special feeling.
Back to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
Another 10?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I mean. Another 10. But it's wild because it's like, you know, look at IGN gave it a 10. GameSpot gave it a 10.
Let's go.
Your aunt gave it a 10. Everyone's coming out of the woodwork to be like, Hades 2, it is damn good. And so here's the thing. Jacob Geller has been playing this for a long time in early access, and he has put a ton of time into this, but he's on his honeymoon at the moment, so he'll talk about it in the future. So thank you for being the huge expert here. So, Haley, you weren't hip to Hades, or you didn't play it until this year? You're coming in fresh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I played it a little over a year ago, I think. I just saw Hades 2 coming in. I've always wanted to play Hades, so I played it in advance. And it's kind of nice to have a little bit of breadth of time because I did the same thing as you. I played between 5 and 10 runs when it came in early access, and I went, nah, I'm going to be a purist about this. I'm going to wait. And then I purposefully didn't touch it, even though I was sitting on my Steam Deck every night. I'd look at it and go, "Argh!" But I waited.
Yeah, that's the sweet thing. It's like, this is the first time, like, you know, I loved Hades 1. Yeah, chat's reminding us it was number 3 on the 210s back in 2020.
What?
Yeah.
It's not number 3?
It's number
Big
3.
year.
Big year. Great year.
2020.
Final Fantasy Remake came out that year, so what do you expect? But
Of course.
And Animal Crossing.
that's right. How can we ignore the giants? But this is the first time that I've played Hades on a Steam Deck. You know, it's like the first one I just played sitting at my PC, but like, turns out people playing this on the Switch for the first one and this one, they know what they're doing. Like, Hades in handheld form is just, It's
It's
catnip.
perfect.
It's so good. It's such a good fit. But Charles, as someone who put a lot of time into this thing, give us the high level takeaway, man.
Yeah, it's more Hades and better, which is a pretty straightforward description of it. But it's when I say it's more Hades in the way that the feeling that I felt playing Hades for the first time and the way that they have like created this certain formula is kind of hard to replicate in another form. There's been a lot of roguelikes that have kind of tried to take the structure of, if you don't know the game, it's you're Hades 1, you're the son of Hades. Hades 2, you're the daughter of Hades. And you're doing this repetitive runs to try to break into the underworld in Hades 2.
Right.
And every time you die, there's a bunch of story content back at your hub. And there's been a lot of, I've seen games that try to pick the, like when you go choose a room, you get a different ability, and then trying to replicate that story process. But it just like doesn't hit the same. I don't know. And it was really nice to play Hades 2 and be like, oh, they are the kings and gods of this for a reason. They really know how to make it work.
There's something magical. Like Supergiant, I think, pound for pound, they're their most reliable game developer out there today. I'm struggling to think of who else can compete at this point on this level. But still, it feels like reunited with an old friend jumping back into this. And just like that tone is so impossible. If you told me like any other game was about, you're in between runs, you're talking to the gods and kind of learning about this interconnecting family drama and system, which is kind of the magic of these games. It's just the relationships between these gods that you're uncovering more and more. It's like there are 1,000 ways to do that wrong or to be pretentious or showy. And this game, like the writing and the voice acting is just so punchy and clean and efficient and not up its own butt, gets the fun points across, gets the info across, and just makes you soak into this labyrinth of just, oh my God, these gods, they got to get their crap together. Stop bickering with one another. And just them taking sides and getting angry when you start to align with people who they don't like. Poseidon's not going to like it if you keep giving gifts to Odysseus. Like all that type of fun stuff is in there in a really cool way.
There's like a natural underline of when you get old enough to learn the family drama.
Yes.
Like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, my aunts love each other. And then you turn 19 and you're like, oh my God, they hate each other. That's crazy. And then you like learn all these details. That's always fun to learn.
You're right. That is exactly the tone.
The gods.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's something about it too that like the other like special sauce of it is you die, so you lose a run, and you should feel bad, but it is like manufactured in such a way that almost makes me feel like uncomfortable with the way that video games can make me feel so good, where I lose and it's me like, but you can talk to this new person and also you can cast this new spell in the cauldron and also you found a new flower. What does that new flower do?
You can garden now?
Within like a 30-second time span, you've gone from being mad that you lost to this one boss to being like, oh, I have so much stuff that like if I did another run, I would win immediately right away. Yeah. And like, it's just like a vicious loop that feels really good.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, there are times where it's like, you know what? I just want to listen to podcasts and do run after run after run. And there's that little moment of like, okay, I should probably stop and talk to everybody. Is it ever going to punish you in a way if you just like don't want to talk to some people in between runs? Is it foolish? Should I be making sure that I'm talking and like extending every conversation as far as it can go every single time?
It depends on, so you can tell when you talk to people if they have like an exclamation point that they have like a new thing to say, but if they've got like exclamation point that's like a spiky bubble, that's like you're going to unlock something. So if you see like a spiky exclamation point, definitely do that. Other than that, like, yeah, you're fine to skip it. I definitely did, I was reviewing this and kind of on like a time crunch at the end, like trying to get to like the proper ending. I turned on God mode, which is like a setting that gives you damage resistance. And then I skipped some of the conversations because I was like, I know the gist of what they're going to say, or they're just going to be talk about this new boss that I encountered or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so, I mean, for people, probably a lot of people listening to this played Hades 1. Maybe a lot of folks haven't jumped into Hades 2 yet. The big takeaway is like, you're now a witch and there's a lot more magic focus. There's still plenty of melee, but there's just a lot more around the edges that's based on hexes and a bunch of funky kind of more range stuff or twisted stuff like that.
Yeah. So for every weapon now has you can attack with the normal attack button, and if you hold it down, you do an Omega version, which uses up some of your magic meter, which is like a really cool, I don't know why it's a thing I'm so into, but when a game adds in, they're like, if you hold the button, it does something different. I'm like, that's so smart. Every game should do that. I don't know why it's not used more often. I remember when I played
that way.
Spider-Man 2018, they're like, hey, you want to do an uppercut? Just hold the punch button. I'm like, that's genius. Why has no one ever done it before? Anyway, and it's like, it makes big differences, and you'll have runs that are shaped around like your Omega moves. Like Lim and Oros are like these two little daggers. One's a sickle, one's a dagger. And the normal attack is just like forward attack flurry. But if you hold down the attack, it's like this teleport behind the enemy to this like big explosion of damage, which is like completely different. And you can make a run that's just built around like doing backstab damage and like hitting people one time and killing them basically. And then one of the things I mentioned in the review that was like a big deal for me is run 39 of all my runs. I made it to one of the big bosses, died, and run 40, I unlocked a new weapon and I encountered a god I had never encountered before. So all of a sudden, I'm going back in the game and doing the things that I had done 39 times before, and it felt like completely different because the last weapon I really like. I think it's probably out there. I'm trying to keep things in vague terms for people that want to go in as blind as possible. But it's my favorite weapon. My favorite weapon's the last one we unlock in the game, and I wasn't not enjoying the game up until that point, but just the fact that it was like, there's still more to get, and every time I get something new, I'm like, this is amazing. This could be the whole game. You don't need the other weapons. This one's so cool. Rocks.
Yeah. And Leo, you downloaded this and played it, and then you spat on your monitor because you hate it?
Yeah, it's like not even that I hate it. It's just I hate everyone who plays it. I think they're stupid.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
I wish I'd asked before I came on the podcast that I had done like a survey.
No, let's have a dialogue, man.
Explain to me why I hate you. That's what Leo wants.
Yeah, no, I love Supergiant. Respect. I played a few runs, and same as the first one, I just don't like doing what it is. I don't like the dashing around a lot and the dodging a lot. Those aren't my types of games.
Dashing throws you off of all the things.
Well, rolling throws me off, and dashing's basically rolling.
Okay. Rolling turn. You're
Leo's
weird.
got a point. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
You love a little Zelda roll?
Bring back the second opinions.
When you're playing Twilight Princess, you don't roll every 5 seconds.
It's precisely the problem, Haley.
Yeah.
Precisely the problem.
You didn't learn to love it on a basic level. That's so weird because this is one of those games. It's like I can't imagine not liking this. I think actually I made an appointment for you to get a lobotomy, Leo. Is that okay? If you want to go to your appointment, okay. Thank you.
I've got too much brain to like it. Okay, I'll take that.
Charles, you got like tips for folks starting out? Like I saw a lot of people on Reddit. They're like, the hex builds. I don't know. Should I be using this more? Basic things you should push into early on.
So hex is an interesting one. So this is a new like type of boon that you only get from Selene, who's the moon goddess, and it's like one
so pretty.
A move you can. Everyone's so pretty.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's a pretty god here.
We're not going to talk about anything else. It's an ability you can use after you've spent a certain amount of your magic bar, and it can be like you drop a nuke on this side of the field, you turn invisible for a minute. My favorite one is you heal yourself. I love getting healed, man. I love a heal button.
Yeah.
The thing about the hexes is whenever you first get them, they will be underwhelming. 1 to 2 upgrades, because the upgrade system with them is very different, where instead of it just being like it does this a little different or that a little different, you get like the path of stars, and it's like an upgrade tree that changes every run. And you get like, instead of it being you upgrade it once, you get to pick one thing on there, you upgrade it and you get like 6 skill points for your hex specifically all of a sudden.
Jesus.
So a button that I could use for like 3 times to heal myself for 15 health, which is not that much. I'll end runs and it's like I have 11 uses of this. Each one heals me for 55, gives me 30 gold, and then I do 5% more damage for the rest of the run.
God.
Oh no.
And like it just feels, that feeling is like I've broken the game. I busted it. I'm so good at this game it couldn't even stand up to my best attempt. And it's, the secret is always like they want you to do that. They want you to feel like you've absolutely busted the game. But I'll fall for it every time, man.
Yeah,
Talk me up.
It just works. And then like the whole thing about getting resources, like, okay, you're going to be gathering silver and stuff like that. You're going to have different tools to gather stuff out there, which is cool to have something to do in these environments instead of just like, all right, I'm going to kind of fight my way through it. Got it. To actually be looking around like, okay, what's in this environment? I can do environmental damage and I can also collect these resources. I should be gunning for all that stuff in a big way too, right?
Yeah, that's an improvement from the early access, or at least the first version of the early access, which I remember playing, and they had a system where you unlock a tool and then you can mine that resource. So like silver, for example, helps you unlock new weapons. Flowers help you cast certain spells and stuff. And it used to be that you had to pick a tool, and then that was the only resource you could collect for the whole run.
Oh.
So you'd be like, this run I'm going to get the pickaxe, so that way I can get more silver, but you'll pass all these like digging spots or fishing ponds and be like, bet you wish you had your fishing rod, don't you? And then with this, at some point they updated and they were like, why do we do that? That's way less fun. Yeah. And it was like truly the one thing I thought was kind of annoying about the early access that I didn't, it wasn't that deep, but they fixed it in the 1.0 version. So I'm like,
but would it have not been a 10?
It's a good question. I do. The notion of what makes something a 10 is very interesting to me, because as I was playing it, I was like, I just think it's got the sauce. And the real thing that made me lock it in was I was trying really hard to think like, what is like my major criticism of this game? And I couldn't really think of one, because a lot of games I really like, I'll tell you this thing is bad about it, that thing's bad about it. And this is one where I had a really hard time. But it is like a whole discussion at Game Informer of being like, I didn't just submit my review for edits and say I gave it a 10. I like called Brian Shea into a meeting room. I was like, so I'm thinking about giving it a 10. How do you feel about that? And he's like, this is the blah, 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 blah. Do you think it's as good as this game or better? Just like looking at other 10s or whatever.
Ocarina of Time. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did, I'll do a quick little plug for the Game Informer show. I ran a little trivia game for them this week about Game Informer's past 10 out of 10 reviews.
Yeah.
Going through like, what was the first one? What's the longest gap between them? There's one issue that had 2 10 out of 10s in it. And what were those games?
Ooh, tune in to find out. I love that. I love the 10 out of 10 trivia.
Yeah, but you said Ocarina of Time. We did not give Ocarina of Time a 10 at Game Informer. It was a 9.75.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because of the fishing. That's so funky. Okay, so I went on a little weekend trip up to Duluth over the weekend, and I was like, look, Duluth is wonderful. I just want to be sitting in here all day, every day at the Airbnb, just playing this on the Steam Deck because it's such a good fit. But like, Haley, what's grabbing you with this game in a big way?
I really respect how concise the writing is while still saying
crazy.
A lot.
Yeah.
Every paragraph's no more than 3 sentences, but it feels as impactful as other games that rattle on kind of thing. I've noticed that about it. And the characterizations are all great. Like, no one's one note. Same with Hades 1. Like, you'll look at someone like, oh, emo guy, but then he had like the way they lay out his character over the course of many runs makes you like him more. Like, again, it's the writing is so fantastic with them. It's next level. The 2 improvements from Hades 1 that I've loved the most is the cast, like the big ring you can leave on the ground. Yeah. I find that, like, having an AoE effect that you then can apply, like, Flutter to or whatever, all these extra things you get from the other gods, it allows for so much more ingenuity with the builds you want to set up, that it's like, it's so satisfying to be heading towards a certain direction for a build, and then you see an upgrade for your cast that you didn't even realize would match perfectly. Like, oh my god, it's broken now. Like what Charles was saying, like feeling like you broke the game. And there's so few instances where I feel like I haven't broke the game. I don't know how they balance this. I'll start my run, I'm like, oh my god, I've broken it. And then I die, and I'm like, darn it, oh well, again. And I don't really have any of the anger usually of like, oh, I just lost out my perfect happenstance line of like perfect Balatro cards or something, right? Like when I lose a perfect Balatro run, I'm like, damn it, that was there, but I messed it up or something. They balance this amazingly well. I think it's because there's such a difference between, boons that affect your attacks, your movement, AoE, health, magic. Like there's so many different things now, and then there's little intricacies of how they combine that I don't even think of until I'm halfway through a run, and I'm like, oh my god, if I can double dash faster, the thing that lets me leave a little bomb when I dash shows up all the time. Perfect. And I'm just nuking everybody and dashing around a circle.
Hey, awesome. could you give Leo a heads up when you use the word dash? It's kind of like a triggering thing if you just want to like.
Hey,
sorry, Leo.
Let other people do it.
Yeah, audio listeners, he was really triggered that whole time I was
could
talking.
see how visibly triggered I was.
So, Charles, it's just better. It's just better than Hades 1 in your mind?
I think so. I don't make this comparison lightly, but it's a Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom thing for me.
Right.
Where it's like we take what we know from the first game. We're putting kind of a new spin on it. There's a lot of new stuff to discover and a lot of new tools to experiment with. But because I played the first one, when I'm re-encountering characters and situations that are in the first one, I'm like, man, this hits different. Like, it's just really fun to see Malunwe interact with all of like the gods from Hades 1.
Totally.
And just other characters and just seeing how everything relates together. And the story is, it's really grand in a way that I think is really interesting, because when you have like this mythology stuff, it could very easily be like, oh, it's the end of the world, you have to stop the end of the world. And when you have like such big apocalyptic stakes like that, it's kind of hard to connect to.
Right.
But like, to Haley's point earlier, talking about like the character strength, it's a very like character first writing game.
Yeah.
Like it's, Poseidon is the son of Kronos and the brother of Zeus and Hades, and he's the father of all these things. And there's a lot of like webs you could have understanding them, but he shows up and he's just like your fun uncle. And that's like so much more engaging. And then you can pepper in all that other stuff. And what like the core of this game is it's like Malunwe is trying to kill Kronos, who's her grandfather. And there's like this really interesting like generational dynamic, the way that they interact and the way that it's like, it has all these grand stakes. You do a lot of cool things. You fought a lot of really cool bosses. But when you really look at it, they're like, this is the dynamic between these characters.
Yeah.
And that's like what pulls you through it.
I just love like the little moments for characters too, of like Arachne. Is that her name?
I
like the
love
spider one who
her.
makes like, but she makes
So
like this
cute.
awesome armor for you, and like she always just has a little quip as you're leaving her area, where she goes like, "You truly do look great," as you're leaving. It's so cute.
She's so cute.
One of my favorites to encounter is Narcissus. Or Narcissus,
Oh, yeah.
they say. They
Yeah.
put all the emphasis in different plots. But he's just got like, it's amazing how he is designed to be hot, but his attitude really kills it. And I think it's just really funny. He's like, everyone wants to be with me. Also, his voice is not how I expected it to be. It's kind of like it kind of sounds like a weird Nicolas Cage impression. But just every time I encounter a character and I'm like that Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen meme where I'm like, I know that guy from the myths. It's like always different than I expect it to be. And
Yep.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's the way to go.
Yeah, I like how there's like such a love for the history of, it's not just something they used to be tropey. Like everything's very accurate in terms of how characters are portrayed. And it's not just gods either. Like they take they have Odysseus in there. The one thing I really loved is like you can go and interact with little icons on the ground, and Homer is the one talking.
Yeah.
And there's like a fourth wall break where she's like, Homer, that's a little bit excessive. He's like, sorry. Like it's like he's writing your story already kind of thing. There's a lot of very cute stuff like that. I'm a nerd for like ancient Greek culture, so like and what's great what they did too is like people like me who love that, who already kind of know the backstory and the family tree of like who everyone is. They make sure that like they'll introduce people like, oh hi cousin, and they'll talk. So you're like, okay, mental note. Like, they don't take
Yep.
the time to be like, you are my cousin. Your father is blank and my mother is blank. Like they just go, hey cuz, like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and you just like make a mental note. So even if you're not familiar with it, you'll pick up on it pretty quick.
Yeah.
I did explain to my fiance that Hades is with Persephone, but Persephone is Demeter's daughter, and Demeter is Hades' sister. So he's with his niece. And she was like, but that's not how it is in this game though, because it's like cute and sweet here. And I'm like, I think it is how it's here, but they make a convenient choice to be like, we're not gonna really talk about that part. If you think about it really hard, it is a little uncomfortable.
Zeus
but,
banged an
we'll be
eagle
fine.
once, or like we don't
Yeah,
need to mention it.
as
It just
a
happened once.
swan, probably.
Yeah, and they said it was really good and hot, which seems just weird. I mean, we've talked about in the past, it's interesting you compare it to Tears of the Kingdom, because we talked in the past about like how indie game sequels are a challenge typically. This is just earlier this year on the
Yeah,
podcast,
right.
I feel like, and now this year is like, never mind, like with Silksong and Hades 2, it's like, well, good job, indie games. You've done it. It's just nice how these two juggernauts this year are lining up. But Hades 2, Run, Don't Walk. We'll be talking about it more on the podcast. Curious to hear, Jacob Geller's full thoughts when he comes back. Jeff was playing it, stuff like that. So we'll definitely be talking about it more. Charles Hart, thank you for being here, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, would you like to plug something other than your review for Hades 2 on GameInformer.com?
Game Informer show. And if you want to come to the Black Box Improv Theater in Dayton, Ohio, I'm usually performing there on Thursdays.
Awesome.
I'm so jealous of
Eight.
someone living close enough to go do that. They really should.
Yeah, it does sound great. All right, thanks so much, Charles. You want to clap out? Welcome to the show. We have Sarah Podorsky.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, Kelsey Lewin.
Hello.
Hey, Haley, do you remember? I guess maybe you weren't there because you weren't alive, but do you guys remember that Monday meeting when Haley turned on her camera and it was just her room, but she wasn't in the chair?
That was crazy.
But I was there.
And a nanosecond later, she teleported in.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
But clearly she turned her camera on and it was like an empty room and then she teleported in and it made me question
It was an empty chair, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly where I was supposed to be sitting and I wasn't there. But you know what I think my camera does, which freaks me out, is I think it takes like a photo when it's off.
No.
And then when I turn it on, it shows what's there and then updates to itself. And sometimes I come out here to like turn on my computer and I'm maybe not wearing the most clothes and I'll just turn it on and then I'll go and I'll turn on my full thing and then it like shows me awful, just not looking great. And then it flashes to the actual camera. I'm like, what the hell was that? It's that cached in its log.
That is impeachable offense for technology.
I know.
Like squish it under your foot.
I know. It's upsetting. And I just pray to God I never turn on. Obviously, the camera's running for more than 1 millisecond when I start a stream. But can you imagine? It goes, and then to me, actually.
Jump scare.
That's
old
good
jump
times.
scare.
That's good times. Hey, there is a game that I'm excited to unpack with y'all called Consume Me that recently came out. It won big awards at GDC and like the Seamus McNally Grand Prize at IGF and stuff this year. It has been a long time in the making, but this thing is finally out. Leo, you finished it? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, how far are other folks in Consume Me here?
I finished it as well.
I think I'm halfway through. Maybe
Okay.
a little more than half.
Okay, I haven't gotten very far, but I just want to shout out Leo for having some insane Consume Me stats on the Steam achievement.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
Yeah, we
yesterday,
talked about
Leo.
this yesterday.
Yeah, you have like a Steam achievement that only 3% of players have, which is get a skill to level 10.
Whoa.
Oh.
And we were
And I
looking
don't
at
know
your
how
Steam
you
achievements
do
and we're
that.
like, who is this guy?
I was grinding and my highest skill was level like 7. How'd you do that?
It was athletics, and I focused on it.
Wow.
What can I say?
That's
I got
impressive.
ripped.
Leo, how would you describe the basics of Consume Me here?
It's a life sim where you go through your days of the week and you have to accomplish certain things like studying for a test or burning a certain amount of calories. It's like there's a dieting that your character's doing that's handled in they look at dieting a variety of different ways throughout the story. And the mini games you do as you move through your events of the day are WarioWare style mini games where you're trying to like keep your attention on the book you're reading. Things like that are really cute. And eventually it ends up being more about like, how do I organize my day so I can do the most things in it? Get some time back for doing this, get a buff so it doesn't take any time to do this. Like optimizing your day to fit as much in as possible.
Right, but then also largely framed around meals. Instead of calories, they're called bites here, and trying to lose weight and manage your image of yourself around your mom and stuff. And it's very autobiographical, and it takes place in like, all right, we're back in June 2011 as we're going through our lives here and trying to manage this young woman's life as she's navigating all this stuff. I think it freaking rules. I am so happy to see a game just like, hey, here's an interactive experience of someone's struggles on planet Earth. It's just so refreshing to have something that is so grounded and relatable, instead of just having a game where it's like, there's more monsters because there's mists building up around the western province of this kingdom. Like, I don't care. But she'll be like, hey, I'm kind of having a tough time dealing with calories and weight loss and managing my life. Like, this just feels like, thank God this game exists.
It's so personal, and once I'm done talking, we can move on and have none of the women speak about
I
it.
love that. Thank you.
Personal, and it's so like small, so relatable because it's so granular on your day-to-day moments of a specific week where a specific thing is happening in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, as someone who was once a 17-year-old girl who was navigating a lot of these same, feelings of trying to make sure that my boyfriend still likes me enough to be with me and that I'm, getting enough done at home that I'm not in trouble with my parents or whatever, and counting my calories and I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but when I was a much younger teen, I did have an eating disorder for a little bit. I would often just run in place at my desk for hours at a time. And so a lot of this stuff really hit home for me just as someone who is like, has really tried to micromanage my life in the same way in my past, and like I've not seen the ending of this game yet, but I'm guessing that some sort of theme at the end is like, and did it fix you? No, it did not, because these are problems that you are not addressing in the real way.
I hope it's not too spoilery to say it's like doesn't get super preachy or like bring home the message in a super overt way, but it's kind of like baked into the whole thing is like this amount of pressure that we are encouraging kids to put on themselves and how much pain it causes while still being like such a cutesy presentation of that. And the goals you're putting on yourself are delivered via talking to yourself in the mirror, who's just like being really mean to you and having really high standards for what you should be like, which is just like so relatable. And so even the darker moments, I think, are just kind of like presented in the same cute, light art style that feels very true to life without being like preachy or in the service of getting a message across. It's like more about here's just the reality of this way of living, really.
Yeah, it's like at odds with itself, because when you're like managing your diet, you play like the cute little mini games with like Tetris and like stacking it on your plate, and you're like, wow, this is a really fun game. But it's like, that this is not the proper way to like approach something like this, right? And if you eat too little, like, you're like, okay, well, if we eat too little, like, we're not going to do well tomorrow because our energy's going to be off. We're going to get hungry sooner. But it's like, as a teenager, you don't know that, right? As a teenager, you're not thinking like what would be the consequence of me doing this? Right.
And they do make a message, at the beginning of like, hey, this is not, it's like consequences are coming later for this lifestyle of eating too few calories. It's like, it's interesting they have to have that, or should have that disclaimer at the top, and be like, this is not diet advice. Like, just because you start out the game, like, we have an arc here, we're going a direction. It's not that this is good job, you lost weight by eating less. The end. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I did appreciate that disclaimer at the beginning, because it did. I mean, I don't think I would have ever assumed that was the direction the game was going in the first place, but it did make me
more comfy.
At least stop and think when I was really good at the beginning parts of the game, and I was like, I was like thinking about that, and I was like, oh, am I good at this because I like have experience in the same sort of restrictiveness, or like, I mean, and I don't know if they mean for you to think of it like that, but it did at least make me pause and be like, am I doing good by doing well at this game, or am I doing bad by doing well at this game?
Yeah. And it's kind of like, it like pressures you with that, like, it's almost impossible to succeed in every category the game gets you, because it's like dieting, school, what is it, like athleticism was another one, which also kind of went into dieting, and it's like, you're like, this is like, and then making money too. You also have to make money, and you're like, this is just like an impossible task, and it's like, yeah, it is impossible. Like, that's the point.
Right. And
then a lot of times, if you could just be full, it would solve a lot of those other problems, but you're not letting yourself be full. So hence everything's 10 times harder.
Yep. And it's like, all right, you're late at night and your mood is rock bottom. So you need to solve that. Like, all right, I guess I'll just go eat a bunch of crap from the fridge in an attempt to solve my rock bottom mood. Just like managing those meters leads to so many kind of relatable odd moments, throughout the game here.
Yeah, this game was kind of freaking me out, because down to like the month, it was like, this is what I was doing in my life. Like, in my actual life, it was actually, I got to like halfway through, it kind of started to deviate, and it was less of like, oh my God, this is one for one what I was doing in June 2011. This is freaking me out. And more of just like, okay, her life's a little different than mine. That's good that we have slightly different experiences. But I had food issues like all my life, I feel like. But you especially feel them when you're a teen. Like, skinniest I've ever been in my life, 18 years old. You look in the mirror, you're like, disgusting. And I remember I downloaded the Weight Watchers app, and that's exactly what is gamifying here, is like those apps that were so prevalent back in that time.
Right.
And it's like, when you gamify food, especially teens that are using those things, and like young people haven't really developed their brains fully yet, it's so dangerous, because essentially, like, you see like a big fat X on your thing when it's a quote unquote cheat day, and your brain goes, I'm losing. Like, I am losing the game right now. And then teens will do really effed up stuff to quote unquote win and make that little X go away. Like, it's encouraging them to potentially go really far down the other route to treat their bodies really poorly, just so they'll get to the end of the week and you get a double check mark on the effing Weight Watchers app and eat more of those goddamn Oreo Thin Stations. You guys remember those? If I
yes.
never eat another Oreo Thensation in my goddamn life, it is too soon. Those things are ass.
We were a Weight Watchers family, and then we shifted to the Jenny Craig family. But then I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't allowed to eat the Jenny Craig snacks because my mom said they were expensive, and they were for her. But they were like pretty tasty. But she'd get mad if you ate them.
I was always begging my mom for the like really expensive 100-calorie snack pack things, like because I had no self-control otherwise, or at least that's what I believed as a teen. So I'm like, I need my snacks to be perfectly portioned so that I know exactly how much I'm eating at all times. And it's always like 10 times as expensive to buy snacks that way.
So just playing through a game like this, does it feel cathartic? Is it a positive experience, or is it just kind of like, this is just lowering me into the sea of emotions that I still battle with sometimes, but hopefully have escaped?
It's kind of like, it's always nice to experience those thoughts through a conduit of a game or a movie or something, right? Because it lessens the blow of like, yeah, that did suck, didn't it? Jesus Christ, I'm glad I have a fully adult brain now. So I thought it did a lot of really interesting things with like the gamification of the gamification, like I already talked about, of just like, that's what those apps are doing. They're trying to make losing weight a game, and the dangers of that through better gameplay. Like, what if the Weight Watchers app actually had good gameplay? And that's kind of what this is.
Right.
And on top of like 10,000 other systems, right? It's not just that. But I think the fact that it had those really tough themes connected to such good games that I wanted to play over and over. Like, I didn't mind doing all the little chores and stuff until, like you reach a point where, Jenny is so run down. All 3 of my meters are 0. I have 2 exams. I absolutely need to study for them, or because you can get game over on your week, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you have to restart the whole week again, or go back a couple days, depending on how much, maybe you just have to change one thing you did 2 days ago, and then you can make it through the run. But you start to really feel the pressure around like Act 3-ish, where I was failing weeks because there wasn't enough time. So then you stay up late, you have to shove chips in your mouth so that your happy meter goes up even a little bit. And then you're like, damn it, I'm over my line for today. I need to go work out. I'll do the yoga one so I can listen to an audiobook while I'm doing that. That counts as studying.
Right.
And it's just laying all these things on top of each other to the point that you get to the end and you're just like, damn it, I'm exhausted. I just don't want to do this anymore. And that's like how it felt.
It's a weird pitch. I think like if I heard discussion about this game or I read a quick synopsis, I don't think I'd factor in as much as I should for the game of like, it's dealing with some serious topics, but it's like, it's a fun game. Like the art style is silly and fun. And it's so interesting to tackle something that is, heavy, but through this really fun lens. So don't see this as like a homework game. Like it really has a lot of pizzazz and incredible animations to it.
Funny. Like I would say the tone is primarily funny, which is a refreshing change of pace for such a shoe-in for the Games for Impact Award. It'll be the funniest one that's ever won.
Right. But just like, little demonstrations of that, even like, it's like, oh, snack attack. You're just shoving a bunch of crap into your mouth real quick. And it's like, all right, you're dragging a popsicle. And I think I remember this animation correctly, but you just like drag it up to your face and your face just automatically gets wide and fat as you even like drag the food over. Like just that detail alone is like, oh, that's an incredible piece of interactive storytelling there that I've never seen before. It's just so many things in this game. It's like, thank God this team is tackling it in this way.
It's so fun that we've gotten to a point where people that were just like me brained in high school are making games now about stuff I felt in high school. Like we're reaching that point finally where there's enough money getting spread around that those kind of projects can get made. And, this game also is a commentary on how hard it was to make this game too, which I thought was really interesting as well. There's like an underlying of like, I went through all this. And plus, it was so hard to sell this as a game concept because no one takes this crud seriously is also kind of a level of it, which I was like, that's fantastic too. I can see why it won all the awards. Like it cleaned up at GDC. Right. And no one had played it yet. It wasn't even out yet. And
I was confused about how that worked. Yeah.
I don't know how that works either. But I remember everyone at the tables was like, what is Consumi? It just won like 6 awards in a row. That's crazy.
Right.
It does feel very new how much it gamifies your regular life. Any little activity is a fun little mini game, and it creates a full cohesive game out of that. It feels very fresh to have such a, again, small story feels so fun.
Yeah, it's just the little things like, okay, it'll pop in with a little vignette about like dodging samples at the grocery store that you want to dodge for the sake of bites or calories, or like the trying to pay attention while reading minigame freaking kills me, where it's just like head on a swivel rotating it around, and you have to like click to adjust it so you're not looking at anything else on the subway or around your room. Like you just need to focus on the book, and it is just like that rapid clicking to try and stay on the book. This is just a fun way to represent easily getting distracted while trying to read.
Yeah, it's also cute. Shopping online is like a mood booster that takes some of your money, and the mini game for that is closing your browser windows until the shopping thing is revealed.
Right.
And then there's just like funny imagery within that. It all flows like a moving comic book. Sometimes you're just like pulling your sheets down as you get up in the morning with down on the left thumbstick, and you're kind of just playing along with the cartoon that's playing out in front of you. And that's such a unique energy to still feel like you're doing everything, but it's so specifically visual, so cartoony and cool.
Yeah. Consume Me, everybody. If you're interested, out there, published by Hexecutable. Trying to remember, it's on Steam. Is it on consoles? I'd have to imagine.
It's on Mac, I know as well, which I love.
A Mac game?
I love that.
Hang on.
The girlies that need this the most are on Mac.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know
looks
that
like
for a fact.
it's not on consoles yet. Yeah, but Consume Me, if you want to check it out and support it for like making such a big splash at GDC. I think it's one of those that I don't think will kind of cycle back around. We're talking, not that this is going to win Game of the Year, but I think when we're talking about like those awards, I think it's going to bubble up hopefully again, because I don't think it should be overlooked by folks. If you want to, even if you just like WarioWare, just jump in and just check it out a little bit. Watch a trailer for Consume Me. Is this related? There's a game called Silent Hill F. That's
Also about a young girl.
there we go.
Big year for teenage girls.
They're doing it. They're
Question
doing
mark.
it.
This 2 weeks is like female protagonist. Let's freaking go. Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2,
Yeah,
Silent Hill F, Consume Me.
you're right. That's just
We
leading me-
finally did it, ladies.
We did it.
We infiltrated. We're doing it.
We solved sexism. It's
Yay!
over.
Mark your calendars,
October 1st,
everybody.
2025. We did it.
But you guys, you just played the first 4 hours of Silent Hill F on that stream. It's up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Leo, how much have you played of this thing?
I'm like 10 hours in. I'm pretty close to
Oh.
Way to
Wait, are you a
go.
Silent Hill girly, Leo?
not historically at all, but this one's
Oh.
amazing.
Really?
I'm really impressed by this game.
What is it
Yeah,
about
I
this
like
one
it
that's
more than the Silent Hill remake that we played last year.
Really?
I also
Oh,
liked it
yeah.
more than last year, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Me too, for what it's worth. I didn't like that one, but I think for other people that didn't, it's like worth noting that that game you kind of trust gets good later as things come out that video essayists have told you about, and this game is like really makes a strong first impression. I was hooked from 5 minutes in.
And the premise is you're a young lady and you're in Japan, and it's the first Japanese Silent Hill that's taking place.
It's like
in Japan.
it's specifically you're in like the 1960s. You're in the Showa era. You're in a post-war era, which is
Okay.
kind of like there's some stuff going on with that as well. And then yeah, that's kind of like the horror aspect. I think this game, I'm only 4 hours in, but I do think this game, because like you encounter a lot of media in this game. It's like women. What is it in the beginning? You read it and it's like a woman who isn't loved doesn't exist, or like women can only fulfill themselves through being loved. And so like they push a lot of messaging at you, which is like get yourself like a strong Showa era boy, like, and the gender roles are very much clear and they're extremely aggressive. And I feel like that's where a part of the horror is coming from, right? Like all the women are like ideal women, right? Coming after you. And then you have like the fact that Shu, your high school friend, doesn't see you as a woman is constantly brought up as well. It's like, oh, I only see you as a partner. And like the mean girls are like, oh, but like he's not interested in you like a woman. He's interested in you as like one of the guys, you know?
The people around you can't comprehend your platonic friendship with this boy whatsoever.
How is this? But aren't you in just spooky ghost town? Like, how is all this popping up?
You meet your
Conversations.
fellow classmates.
Oh, you do?
A couple friends in town. With the small town setting is so immaculate. It's so beautiful and fun to explore and just so unique. Never explored something like it in a game before. Going
It's
down to the
gorgeous.
convenience store where you and your friends all hang out. Such a cool slice of life, really. Despite you start and it's Silent Hill right away. You don't get to play what it's like to hang out in that town normally.
Okay.
But you still get a good sense of the friend relationships, partially because of a really good journal. Unlike when you meet somebody, it populates the journal with the text about them. That stuff is all super well written, not too long, great illustrations. I've read every single thing, and I don't normally do that in games, but everything in that journal I've read, and partially because the drawings are so cool. I've compared them to scary stories to tell in the dark. those iconic pencil-looking
Yeah.
drawings that instantly give you nightmares. Just beautiful art all around. Cool monster designs. Beautiful music. The opening credits song is unbelievable.
Oh, the music is great, yeah.
Yeah, the absolute details they put in this, like you are in like a tiny Japanese mountain town. So there's like mountain patties and not mountain patties. There's rice patties and like a gorgeous mountain and like shrines everywhere. And it just feels so real. Like you literally like the details are absolutely gorgeous. And then you also, there's sort of like this overworld underworld situation. And the underworld is sort of like a mythological Japanese temple that you're wandering through. They got like the torii gates everywhere, and it's just like so well done.
Yeah.
I like this. I can't be scared because I'm too busy being in awe of the environment, you know?
I also think it's paced super well, at least so far. Like all the puzzles I have found to be really unique. I think they're hit or miss for people. I think they're really cool and unusual. It's not like sliding a box around to make a picture or whatever. Like none of the puzzles you expect to be there are there, except for if something like that is there, it's because there's a twist on it. There's another thing you're managing while you're trying to do it. It's everything. Every scene I feel like is dense with a bunch of different ideas, and then it's over before you're hoping it's over. You're just like moving through a really interesting story really fast. Feels
Yeah, I need like every horror game to start as quick as this one because I really can't stand where it's like, we're setting the tone. This is Billy Thornton. He's like a rough and tumble guy. Here's him yelling at his wife. Here's him talking to another woman and yelling at her. Here's a blah, blah, and then like 80 minutes of that, and then something scary happens. I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm already kind of like over it a little bit, but this is like a little quick exposition scene, walk down a hill, game starts, and I'm just like, yes, let's just get going and explain the characters to me while stuff is happening.
Yeah.
I don't need to just watch cutscenes for 20 minutes or 40 minutes or longer and then have stuff happen.
I know it's like tough to gauge when you're streaming a game, but like, is it scary? Like I've never been a Silent Hill guy, mainly because I'm a complete
It's not as scary
coward.
as, yeah. I was talking to other people about this too who are playing this, and it's like, surprisingly not as scary as other horror titles I've played. You still get the occasional like, because they, drop something from the roof or whatever, but you want those little like, but there's less like body horror.
But I think the combat is what makes it not as scary because I feel like they really weirdly fleshed out the combat for a horror game.
Yeah.
There's like a really good dodge that actually dodges. Like I think it's not just like I duck down slowly.
Yeah.
Like you actually, you're scooting and booting with that dodge. You have weapons that you can pick up and like they do break, but you can repair them.
Only
and you
melee is an interesting choice too.
Yeah. You can like parry too to do extra damage if you like press a button at the right time. So I think because also Haley and I will say we are playing combat on story mode for whatever reason, and puzzles on hard, because when we booted it up, there was only story and hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
weird.
interesting.
Huh.
But I appreciated it.
I'm doing the same configuration because I'm not in these games for the combat. But
right, totally.
Same.
There's like an Omamori system that's kind of your perks, and you can bounce around like having high durability weapons. Like there's a little freedom to have little builds in there, and I knew that's what's interesting to me, and I don't really want to worry about learning how to parry everything. Perfect.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Game Informer show, and they said when they got their codes that they communicated story mode is the intended mode.
Oh, good.
Oh, this is normal in some ways. That's really confusing for everybody.
I know. Story I always view as like, you don't want any friction. I just want to watch cutscenes and like get to the next cutscene.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of always view that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What a weird success. Like, they announced it sold 1 million copies. Hope it keeps selling more as like the kind of go-to horror game this holiday season. But like, all skepticism that we talked about before with this game, I was like, it's because the developer, they made like Resident Evil Resistance components, like the multiplayer Resident Evil stuff. Like, it seems like they're just coming out of nowhere, and they're called Neo Bards Entertainment. So for like this team to knock it out of the park to this extent, it's just like one of the cool success stories from this year, I think, so far.
Cool. And it seemed like when they were presenting it, they were very they were very humble about it. They were like, we took Silent Hill in a different direction, and we really hope that you guys like the direction that we took Silent Hill. And I'm like, stand on business. Like, you made a gorgeous game. You made what I would consider like passable combat for a horror game, which I feel like is hard.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's just, I mean, could it be scarier? Yes, but I appreciate that they didn't rely on like jump scares,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
It's not
when
cheap.
they're there, they're well deployed. Like they're really bespoke, thoughtful scares, which I found quite scary. It's just a sign of how well this game is working that I'm like so excited to find side content because it's like going to have interesting story or going to have a meaningful reward with the Omamori stuff or going to be just a bespoke scare that I feel lucky to find. It's just like fun to go through because it's all handled so smoothly.
Yeah, that's sweet. Silent Hill F, everybody. If you want to support Silent Hill, back in a big way, check it out. And tune in on Friday on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch for to watch Haley and Sarah scream and squirm.
We haven't been screaming as much.
Oh.
Like,
No.
it's hard when it's just a good game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's going to be some squirming coming up. I'm excited.
Oh, good squirming, guaranteed.
Uh-oh.
I was squirming in my chair, Leo, out of guilt. You know, when you get a good guilt squirm rolling? Because for months now, I've been hearing about Blippo Plus on the Playdate. And I'm like, I know I need to play Blippo. I bring my Playdate with me every once in a while on little trips. Like, I still want to be a big Playdate guy. And I heard there's this cool experience called Blippo Plus. And I, like a fool, sat and waited and ignored it for too long. And now they have released it on Steam and Switch, and Blippo Plus is now in color, and I jumped into it on Steam Deck, and I was like, okay, yeah. Turns out we should have been paying attention to the Playdate this year, because freaking Blippo Plus rules. But, Leo, is it even a game?
Good question. Let's not talk about it just to be safe.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, let's play it cool.
I want to say real quick, credit to myself. I beat Blippo Plus as well. This is the most prepared I've ever been for the podcast. Most prepared I ever will be.
Wow.
It's crazy. I'm here to talk games. Yes.
Come on.
Thank you. Blippo Plus really good. I didn't realize there's like you can switch to low data mode. That's just must be what the Playdate visuals are because it's black and white and like lower resolution. That's interesting. It is very much within its own meta, within its own narrative. This is a cable television system broadcast from another planet, and all of these shows feed into each other and they're aware that you're watching it. That's like part of the story is we're realizing our signal is reaching this other planet that seems weirdly like ours, but different in these other ways. And you realize kind of like what is all different about this planet because it's all in a public access television way of Steve Brule looking like, you know, some of its black backdrops are super simple sets, super simple shows, each of which like a minute long, I think is the length.
Yep.
And you just can go through the TV guide and you see what show's on, what's coming up next, and you can watch one channel for a while or surf through them. Sometimes they put in like a really boring show where nothing happens to urge you to kind of do the channel surfing thing, which I think is smart.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just get bought into this world where all these crossovers are happening. The host of this show is getting interviewed on this other show. You start to have favorite shows, and you start to be excited and check for them when you get the new like set of shows they kind of set you every once in a while as time is moving forward on this planet, and it's all it's beautiful. It's funny. It's like it's less. You kind of expect a big subversion maybe of like it gets creepy or something from this kind of style that you've seen on like Adult Swim a lot, but that doesn't really happen. It's just an interesting story, and it's not like it's making me laugh all the time. It's just like cozy, and it's just fun to learn about this world from this small little peek at these little shows where you get the sense of like, oh, they're making food out of these ingredients that look completely alien.
Right.
I wonder what flowers are out there that we're never seeing because we only see inside this TV studio.
Right. They have like Antiques Roadshow, and it's like, oh, we dug up this device, and it's like, I don't understand. It's like, this is back in the day we used to make 3D sculptures of our dreams. It's like, I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. It's the right level.
Dancing robot that does a super simple one move dance, and they're like, you could not find a kid who didn't have this in their bedroom. It's such awesome world building.
Does it give the little FMV like video clips from Remedy stuff? It kind of reminds me of like the shows in Alan Wake. And stuff.
Little
kind of like that.
Yeah, a little bit. There's like, it's such a good tone because it'd be so easy, and I think so many folks do it when it's like public access, 80s TV, and they go so over the top. And it's so weird to say about Blippo that it's like, it's relatively subtle. I was not annoyed by any character or show in this, even though there are like obnoxious things happening. It's not trying to be too funny. It's just like this confident, weird tone that's even like south of some of Alan Wake's, I think, like live action segments. Like the closest comparison, even though this is also probably too obnoxious, is the opening of Metal Gear Solid 4, which maybe these days is a deep cut where you're flipping through fake TV channels at the opening of Metal Gear Solid 4. But imagine that, except it goes on forever and there's a bunch more channels. And then, like Leo mentioned, it is the super fun thing of it's all on an alien planet to try to understand their culture. And then as new packets get downloaded and you install new packets, originally on the Playdate, Leo, that was like a time thing. So like every week they'd have a new drop. So you'd have like a week to dissect what these shows were doing before the new drop came. But now it's just, hey, once you've figured out enough of the story, we'll give you the next packet. And it's just so fun to watch the escalation of like, all right, it's just these wild alien shows. And then for them to be like, we made Alien Contact, this thing called The Bend. And like, I guess our TV stations are being sent to another blip-like planet that's blue and green. All right. Hi, aliens. And there's like, it's so fun because everyone's like kind of tongue-in-cheek acknowledging it. Like, all right, we have a question that somebody wrote in and they want to know, aliens, do you party? It's like a bunch of like stupid little shows as it's become more and more aware that they're being watched by an alien planet. It's such a good hook for this whole thing.
I like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't like get super subversive, or it doesn't like, I don't know. I think of immortality when I think about this game. You know,
yes.
When I go into it, you're kind of exploring at your own pace through this set of content, and it is very, very different energy. It is so just consistent itself, and the story plays out within the rules that it's set up, and it's very satisfying and charming and just fun. It's just, I wish it lasted forever because it's so fun to just, I got to fold some laundry. Let me turn on Blippo Plus and just surf it as I fold my laundry. Just like that level of immersive from being such a specific thing. I keep saying specific. I keep trying to think of a different word than specific on the podcast today, but these games are specific, folks.
Yeah, specifically, I think that's the right word. But it's just so fun to be like, to know what's satisfying about TVs, the way they used to be back when they were good. But even just like every time you get a new packet and download it and it does like the scan of like, all right, we're detecting which channels are going to be available this time around. Like even that is satisfying. I don't know if it's just weird TV nostalgia, but it's like, oh yeah, what channel's going to go to? What numbers are going to be popping up? And then like they eventually add a channel for like, for the sole purpose of trying to instruct you on the world of Blip and the planet of Blip. So it's like, okay, this is the channel just for you. And it's going to be like weird computer renders of them like trying to teach you how to pronounce their words and stuff like that. Like it's just such a cool little idea. And you talk about like the world building here, Leo. Like it all got started because there's a band called Yacht. And then they partnered with people, JJ, I forget their name, but they've been making kind of programming in LA that is very much inspired by old public access and 80s shows for a really long time, using all the old equipment and stuff like that, a bunch of analog cameras and stuff. And so they partnered to create this, but they knew each other from playing a bunch of Shadowrun together. So like, yeah, we just naturally were really used to like creating worlds together. Cohesive worlds that would kind of like have an improv element. And there's like, it's helpful to know that backstory of like, okay, that's how they were able to create this cohesive alien world, is because they're used to just tabletop role playing together, and now they had to spin it out into an entire TV station or TV. I mean, what did you even call it? I guess like their Comcast, I guess is the easiest analogy, you know?
And yeah, an entire planet's TV system.
Right. It's a funky thing. Did you have a favorite show out of the batch, Leo?
A few. Shouts out the Psychic Weather Report.
Yeah.
That's just an iconic performance there. And it's a green screen weather person, but they're talking about like psychic waves and how you're going to be feeling and how you should plan for that. And it is oddly sometimes like ties into the story of like, oh, there are these events coming up, or that I realize, oh, that actually was oddly prescient. And Countertop at Debbie's Diner. It's like just spoken to camera, Debbie behind the counter, getting dishes, taking your order, and just talking about like, I don't know what the big deal is with all this Bend stuff. Another just a lot of really iconic performances and characters that you end up getting attached to, and your opinion ends up changing on as they have different reactions to the same, everybody reacting to the same news events, you know?
Right.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah, I love that dopey kids show with the teens, is it Boredome, where it's just a bunch of like teenagers sitting around like talking about the aliens and stuff together. And like Post Games, Chris Plant's podcast, he had a really good episode all about the creation of this. And they were talking about like, all those kids that we recorded for the live action, like they didn't even know like the old shows we were referencing. So it all came across as really sincere and not snarky because they were just like, oh, it is fun to be on TV. Let's just talk about this alien civilization together, you know?
That is like the most impressively captured vibe too.
Yes.
That show. That show's so perfect. The way they're all sitting on those different boxes, trying not to care about stuff.
Yeah.
Great teen content.
Here's what freaks me out about Blippo Plus is, Kelsey, it's like, Panic's putting this together. It's a cool, weird, ambitious thing to create hours and hours and hours of content for an alien planet. Yet still, we did not check it out on Playdate. Like, is there part of you where it's like, what do they take?
When you, the moment you said guilt, I knew exactly where this was going. I got the same pit in my stomach. My Playdate is sitting next to me. Yeah. Like, I'm not, I love this thing, and yet I do not give it the respect that I feel like I have for it. Yeah. And I don't know exactly what that is. I think I have gotten so spoiled by how most things work now, where like I just put in the little code on my device and I get the game, or like I have to it's one more step. It's not like a substantial step to get new games on this, but clearly I'm not doing right by this poor Playdate. This thing looks incredible. When it was first announced, I was like, this is so up my alley, and then I just haven't actually.
Then you didn't go into your own alley. You just kept walking by it on the street.
I know. Yeah, I was like, wow, that alley looks great.
That is my alley. I own it.
I hope I get to go to that alley someday.
Is it common for Playdate games to come to Steam and other consoles later? Has that ever happened? Or
it has happened. So
it has happened.
Yeah. Okay. For context here, like Kelsey and I, was it last year? I guess, yeah, we went to Panic in Portland and made the MinnMax spotlight about it if you want kind of behind the scenes on Playdate and Panic as a publisher and stuff. And yeah, there was one other example there of that they had at that time, even of like a game kind of getting off of Playdate. But yeah, they've had like weird Playdate specific hits, like the Root Bear.
Root Bear?
Yeah, like that's like a Playdate juggernaut somehow, and I don't think that's been released on Steam yet. I don't know if it really would even work that well. I don't really know
how you would. That one's very crank focused.
Right, yeah, you gotta have the crank. But yeah, but if you want to support some weird stuff, check it out. Blippo Plus. It's a cool, weird little thing. Don't expect an immortality level of depth here, right, Leo? I mean, as someone who's quote unquote finished it more or less, like, I mean,
I'm sure I missed some stuff, but I'm watching almost everything. Like, I tried to watch everything because it was all really good. I'm at 6 hours.
Okay.
On Steam.
Yeah.
Which is, didn't overstay its welcome. Recommend it to anybody.
That's sweet. On the FMV front, real quick, Sarah Summer wrote in about this game, and then Chad had to tell us that, of course, you were on top of it because you're a hip cat, is Road to Empress.
Road to Empress.
It looks cool FMV game. As hell.
It's really good. If you like Chinese historical dramas, if you're like into that, they're using like a set. So basically in China, they have like these giant like studio lots that are just built for Chinese historical dramas that they film all of them at. And so they filmed this there. So they have like, you can literally pick your period, right? So they filmed this there, and you can tell because it looks high quality, okay? This is high quality content.
It's true.
And I didn't really understand FMVs very much. Like, I didn't really see the appeal until I played this one. And while it's not like as choose your own adventure, essentially what's happening is you're entering the palace as, I think you're like 14 or younger. You're entering the palace into what I called the JV harem. So you have the harem, and then you have the younger harem. So you're entering the palace there, and it's all political intrigue, like you're constantly being murdered, and they show you being murdered. I have been murdered in the widest variety of ways.
Oh, good.
And they will show it to you, like they'll show you getting like your throat, like, oh, you said the wrong word, throat slit. Like you wore the wrong dress, actually straight to prison.
Whoa.
Yeah, because everybody else in the palace is trying to kill you. And it follows the life of like, what is it? Wu Zetian, who was like China's only empress, which is why it's called Road to Empress. I can't speak for how historically accurate the game is. It's mostly just it's borderline escalating drama, and it reminds me so much of those like historical palace dramas I watch, where it's like, you think this can't go any higher? You actually have, your aunt had a twin sister. Okay, your aunt had a twin sister, and she's been hidden away in the cold palace. And now you're gonna swap your evil aunt with your good aunt, and nobody's gonna notice they were twins.
Yeah.
Like, it's off the rails entertaining. Like, it's just flat out entertaining. And it was only $5.
Oh my
Best
God.
$5 I've
What a
ever
deal.
spent.
Yeah.
You got the two princes. You have the good prince and the bad prince, like kind of like the bad boy. And like they're also in there, so there's a little bit of like romance. But the entire point is you will eventually become Empress. This game stops halfway through. It's like part 1. So I'm not Empress yet. No, I've been, the Emperor died. It ends with you going to become a nun like they used to do. And now it's like, how will you get back to the palace? Because you know you're going to become Empress. And the game kind of forces you to be cutthroat. Kill or be killed, essentially. Like, literally, the first decision in the game is you're entering the palace for the first time, and you run into the consort of preciousness. So she's in the harem, and she's above you, and she's the emperor's favorite consort, right? So she can do whatever she wants. She can get away with whatever she wants. She can kill whoever she wants. And your so-and-so friend gives you like a peony hairpin, right? It's a peony. And she's like, you should take this. Like, take this hairpin. It's a peony. And you're like, no, I don't want it. Like, don't give it to me. And then you drop the hairpin. She sees it. The consort of preciousness sees it. And she's like, the peony is actually my favorite flower. You're not allowed to wear it. And if you say that it's your hairpin, you get dragged away and branded with it and then murdered.
Jesus Christ!
So this is literally,
if you're gonna murder.
they brand your head with it. You
That's
watch
murder
it
101.
happen. Yeah, you don't play this game with your kids in the car, okay? Because it is brutal. They brand you with it, so like there's a lot of dying. So there's really, I think, only like you kind of have to do what the game wants you to do. So what you have to do is you have to blame it on somebody else. You have to say, that's not my hairpin. That's her hairpin. And then she gets branded and dragged away. Like, I've thrown bodies in wells. I've committed murder. Like, the levels that you have to rise to like, you're like, I know this is like the bad thing. I know it's wrong, but like, I don't want to die. And then at the end of the game, it gives you like a little personality test. It's like,
I
this
love
is
that.
what you would be if you were a flower. And I'm like, where were you getting this information from?
Yeah, I thought it was it's a personality test, and it just says murderer for the
Literally.
result for
And
every single person.
Literally, it gives you like a
victim.
word cluster. It's like palace schemer. like what did I do? But
there a lot of endings?
Yeah. Well, there's multiple. There's different endings. A lot of them end in death, but there are secret good endings based on. So like in one part of the game, you get thrown out of the palace, but I also invented cold storage and became a lychee farmer and like invented refrigeration. And you're like, okay, that's great, I guess. But then you do have to like go back and play through it. I spent like 8 hours in this game.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. I wouldn't call it like historically accurate, but historically enjoyable.
Totally. That's all you
Probably.
need.
Like I double checked some things on the Wikipedia and I was like, oh wait, no, this actually did, according to history, happen. But yeah, so if you're into Chinese historical dramas, this is a good one.
It just seems like a fun one too. Like if you just got some buddies who are into this scene, like just sitting back and playing through this and trying to get this princess through the palace without getting murdered.
Yeah, Until Dawn type way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Road to Empress. Sarah, I know it's your least favorite thing, but I mean, do you think it's going to be on your top 10 list at the end of the year?
My top 10 list is it's devoid of any of the actual games that are going to be on top 10 lists this
Good.
year.
That makes it interesting.
It's the absolute freak pit
Good.
of top 10 lists.
Yes.
I don't know where this is going to, yeah, it's hard to like rank this one because it's like, I know I really enjoyed it and I'm really looking forward to part 2 coming out in February.
Then it's number one.
But like, it's just, I've never played anything like it. And for that, I feel like it gets so many points.
Yeah, of course. Like if you're captivated by a game and you're having a great time with it, like that's high up. Road to Empress, that one's called on Steam. Kelsey, Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. I did not know what this was from Bandai Namco. And then I looked it up and watched some video reviews and trailers, and I was shocked that like, oh, it's a Hades-like. It's a very appropriate thing for this episode. Is that a fair characterization of what's going on with Towa?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a roguelike that's, action based and all that. Yeah, I would say it's like that. I thought you were going to go the fun direction with the intro of this, which is that it's developed by Brownies Inc., which is the studio that spun off from Brownie Brown, like the Mana and Mother 3 people. That's crazy.
Oh.
Like, why is no one talking about this?
It is weird. Yeah, it seems like since they spun off and there's Brownies Inc., I was looking at like, I don't think any of their Brownies Inc. games have made a splash, but it's just like that weird tidbit of like, from the creator of the Mana series, technically, if you follow the lineage of the Brownie. Is that what like drew you towards this game?
I thought it looked kind of interesting, but yeah, that was one of the things for sure. It was just kind of a like, I feel like this is getting weirdly overlooked in this space here. This looks like a very competent little roguelike, and with really cool character design. Yeah. And yeah, it turns out it is. It's like on the outside it looks, it's pretty standard. I mean, like, you are going through stages and you're going to die and you're going to get upgrades and everything and restart, blah, blah, blah. But there's a couple of gimmicks that make it really interesting. And the first one is that you're sort of controlling two characters at the same time. One's just like following you at a distance, and you can kind of, shift and control where they're going if you want. But I found that nearly impossible to do in a high action thing. So you kind of just got to let them follow you and do what they do. But you're using one character, like the character you're controlling is the one that's attacking, and you have two swords, and your swords, like, you level them up separately. There's a bunch of other weird sword stuff I'll get into later, but they like break throughout the fight, and then you have to switch to the other one, and then the other one regenerates, and you're just constantly switching back and forth swords. And then this other player, which there is a co-op mode. I've not played the co-op mode where you can just simply be that other person. They're doing spells that are like on cooldowns. And there's all of these things, there's things that you can upgrade. You're getting materials to, add little bonuses to each of your stats and all that sort of standard stuff. So, I mean, you're kind of always improving your runs, very, very standard stuff. But the thing that I think is really interesting about it, is that, so you've got these really cool characters. I think they're really fun character designs. I really like, there's like a big burly fish man who apparently can't swim. But you have these different characters who are all voice acted, and that you can kind of mix and match in different things. It's not like, oh, this one's the magic one, so they're always in the magic spot. You can really, truly combine them in any way. And then once you get to the end of your run, you have to sacrifice one of them. What? And then they're gone.
Interesting.
They're like, you can't play as them for the rest of the game. And I'm not crazy far into this, so I've only sacrificed, I think, maybe 2 or maybe 3 so far. But, as you're building up this, like, okay, I'm going to put a bunch of stuff into this guy's attack power and to his, ability to dodge and all of that stuff. And then, you aren't going to get to use all of these people all game. So you're kind of always balancing that, like, how much resources do I really throw into this person if I know they're just going to die at the end of the run? So you can't get like too comfortable with any combo. But yeah, really, really interesting and unique. All the characters are likable in their own ways. And then the like number one weirdo thing with this that I think just, again, it's just one of those like, how was there so much effort put into this game and it is going completely under the radar? Yeah. There is the deepest sword making mechanic I have ever seen in a game in this. Like, just a 14-step process of getting the materials, every single step of like how to make a katana, like shaping them. You can use I'm on Switch, which is not the ideal way to play this, I think, but you can like create your own sword shape, and then you have to hammer it into that shape and bend the metal. A little Ghost of Yote in there. Yeah. So it's a weirdly deep and interesting game that is very fun. I mean, the actual loop is very good. I've been having a lot of fun with it. But I just don't know if we're so like burnt out on games like this. We're like, okay, well, this is the Hades 2 year. We can't afford to put any more thought into anything else.
I mean, not even just the year. This is the Hades 2 like specific 2-week window. You know what I mean? And for Towa to be like, Towa is everybody. It's like, it's okay, Towa. We'll get back to you and your sacred guardians of the sacred tree.
Yeah, reviews are kind of mixed on it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hovering around like a 7 out of 10, but it's one of those just like really good 7 out of 10.
Totally.
Like, I think I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. It's out on everything if you want to check it out. All right. The show moves on. We have more to cover. Haley, do you want to clap out, or you can take your pick? You're either clapping out or you're clapping once to magically turn yourself into Bloomberg's Jason Schreier.
I'll clap to turn myself into
Smart
beautiful
pick.
Jason Schreier.
Smart
Did you say
pick.
beautiful or Bloomberg?
I said
I
beautiful.
said beautiful and you said Bloomberg.
All Bloomberg things are beautiful to me, Haley.
Okay, here I go.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Talk about a megaton. We have Jason Schreier here.
Hello. I'm here.
The
Hello.
news
Hello,
breaker
everybody.
yourself,
Thank you for
generating
having me.
news each and every week. Yes, thank you so much for
I
jumping on the
invited
show.
myself on. I messaged Ben and I was like, hey, can I come on your show?
Yeah, that's okay. I've gotten that more and more recently, which is nice. Like, thankfully, people don't complain about our guests, and so you got a lot to live up to. But it was like, yeah, I think we can make that work. And it's like, I know you're a big Final Fantasy Tactics fan. That's a good lineup. And then this EA going private thing dropped. And I'm like, okay, this is as Jason Schreier as hell. This is a great week
Fun
to have you
time.
on.
Oh my
Wait,
goodness.
is that why you messaged? Because you knew that would be dropping, or this is just totally happy
Nope.
coincidence?
Total
Unhappy coincidence, I guess,
I
but-
messaged Ben before any of this came out. Yeah.
Wow.
That's very sweet. I still get messages every once in a while from like new Patreon supporters and like, hey, I heard you on Triple Click a while ago. It's like, it's nice when you're on a podcast, it feels like it has an impact and people like are listening. So Triple Click is one of the best. So congratulations.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it does feel like we have a bit of an impact. Although I've yet to see someone wearing a Triple Click shirt out in the wild. That's my real bucket list goal, is to like see someone and be like, oh, there it is, like Leo DiCaprio in that meme. Like,
Yeah.
it's a Triple Click shirt in the wild. Sometimes I wear my Triple Click hoodie, but I wonder if that's kind of lame. Is that like
Yeah.
if you're in a band and you're wearing your own band's T-shirt? I don't know.
It's been
I wonder
done.
about that.
Yeah, you're the lamest person on earth if you try and pull it off.
That's what I hear. That's what my kids tell me.
Yeah.
I was wearing a Cream of the Steam sweater this morning, which is a MinnMax show that doesn't really exist anymore, and I wasn't really a part of it. So that kind of makes it more.
No, that actually makes it better. If you weren't part of it, then it's cooler because it could be like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of them.
supporting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sarah and Anna were really funny on that show. Yeah. Okay, Jason, thank you so much for being here, because Final Fantasy Tactics is as relevant as it's been in 30 years. And you are constantly ranting and raving about Final Fantasy Tactics in a way, screaming for people to pay attention to good games, please, like the beloved Final Fantasy Tactics. So this is out now. The Ivalice Chronicles, the big remake, remaster. There's a whole discussion to get into there of Final Fantasy Tactics. And Kelsey, have you been playing it too?
I have.
Okay. And then Sarah, you've been diving in?
Yes.
Okay. Don't be shy. I want to hear about all this stuff. But Jason, maybe as the biggest fan of this game going into it, how is this version of your beloved Tactics?
Somehow I finished the entire thing, which was pretty ridiculous. Actually, before I start, I just got to plug something real
course,
quick,
please.
and then I'll be done plugging it, which is that the paperback version of Play Nice, Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment is out on October 7th, and people should check it out if they've been holding off for a nice, like, floppy paperback version. All right, that's enough of that. Plug over. Final Fantasy Tactics, man, what a good video game. So I checked out, I was looking forward to the remaster. I've been looking forward to it for a while now, because I haven't played the game in quite a few years, and picked it up, and I wasn't sure how long I was going to stick with it, because there's so many other games out and there's so much else to play and check out right now. And then somehow I just wound up finishing the whole thing because it holds up so well and it's still so good. This version is interesting because all of the flaws from the original are still there, and we can get into that a little bit. But just kind of holistically, it is a game that is essentially like chess meets Game of Thrones meets like Fire Emblem, XCOM, whatever other strategy game of your choice. Chess might be your strategy game of choice. I don't know. I'm not judging you. But this game is incredible. It has an incredible story. It has incredible character customization. It has incredible strategy. This version has a lot of quality of life features that weren't present in previous versions, like autosave and like the ability to bail out of these consecutive battles that are sometimes in the game and can totally soft lock you and screw you over if you don't know what's coming. This version alleviates that. You don't have to worry about that. And also there's a fast forward button.
Huge.
The biggest change for people who know the game actually is that in previous versions of Final Fantasy Tactics, as you moved around the map, you could get into random encounters, which would really slow things down because battles take a quite amount of time. In this, you can skip those. And that is one of the reasons I was able to finish the game, is because it moves much more quickly when you can skip those random encounters. But fantastic remake, I would say.
How does it balance the XP if you can just skip all of that random grinding and stuff?
That's a good question. Well, the way XP and they're two forms of experience you get in this game. One is experience for like character levels and stat growth and stuff. And the other is job points for your job system, which is this whole elaborate mix and match customization sort of thing where each character can be assigned to a job, whether it's the lowest level like Squire through other Final Fantasy stalwarts like Knight and Black Mage and Summoner and all Ninja, all the other good stuff. And then you can also mix and match abilities from different jobs. Like you could take a support ability from the ninja that lets you dual wield 2 swords and then equip that with your white mage so you can dual wield 2 staves. And like you can do all sorts of crazy combinations, which is one of the reasons this game is so compelling, is because you can do so much cool creative stuff with that. But you gain that experience and job points every time your character does an action. So if you want to grind, you can just like start a battle and have your characters just whack each other over and over again. And that's how you like grind up your abilities. It's just
I wish I had knew
that
before I started playing it, because I was like, it's really hard to level up like the littler characters because they'll go into attack and then they'll get counterattacked and they'll just get like 2-shot. And I'm like, wow, like I don't know how to do this. And they're like, oh yeah, no, you're just supposed to like take them and you're supposed to just go hit somebody else. I'm like, okay, I guess so.
Wait, so you're supposed to hit each other like your own teammates?
Well, you can. That's like the min-maxing way of playing. You can also play it perfectly normally. You probably will go
Saw that
fall behind. Yeah, you probably will fall behind if you don't do any of the random encounters. But like the main battles, if you just like spend some time bonking your characters over the head a bunch of times, then
cool.
You can really level up that way.
That explains something that this is my first time playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and I was shocked at how immediately it ramped up. I really like tactics games, and I really like the job system in this is incredible. But I was like, this is weirdly kind of hard in the very beginning here. Like your characters can't do anything and they are constantly getting counterattacked. And even after and you're right about the quality of life stuff, because you can just kind of like restart a battle and also go back and edit your characters before you do that. So I was like, okay, I clearly didn't take the time to like give everybody other abilities first. But those first couple of battles, I feel like all I was doing was running around the board, throwing stones so I wouldn't get countered, and just slowly chipping away at the health of the enemies as I like run in circles and throw rocks. I was like, this is a bit of a grind, guys. This is not.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, I find in the beginning they don't like tell you that you should be grinding, right? Like they just kind of tell you go here, go here, go here, and you'll have random encounters along the way. But it's like you do want to dig down sooner rather than later and start like leveling up your characters on like the little, because you can like trigger a random encounter whenever you want, which I thought was really cool. You can just like click on those little spaces and you could just go into a battle. But yeah, in the beginning I was like going through the battle and then I hit that one like pinch point and you're like, oh no, I should be grinding more.
The game doesn't do a very good job of onboarding people, and that's a little bit of a problem. I think a lot of new players might just have no idea what's going on. Kelsey, just so you know, the throw stone ability is like the weakest ability in the game. You can totally
I know it is.
That. Yeah.
I know it is, but it was like the one that doesn't counter. You know what I mean?
Counter.
Like
that
I could give everybody immediately, and that doesn't have a counter.
Yeah, there's so many little quirks. I mean, I've been playing this game for 30 years now. I've played it many times that I've learned and kind of internalize a lot of quirks that I sometimes forget that like your average, like a new player isn't going to know anything about. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole giant tutorial section that can help out a little bit. My advice is actually to go find like a spoiler-free guide that will just kind of walk you through some like basic tips on like how to get the most out of your characters and how to beat some of those earlier battles. That first battle in the Dorder slums is tends to be a choke point for people. That's the one. It's like the fourth or the fifth battle. It's like after you go to the castle and then you come back to Dorder, and then it's like there's like a archer on the top of this like big like hill to your left, and then a few dudes in front of you. That one can trip people up if they haven't started like actually switching jobs and learning abilities and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, you don't really have to worry about having your characters bonk each other over the head a bunch of times unless you really want to. You can kind of play naturally. You just have to really, I recommend looking up a guide that's just like, here's some tips for how to get the most out of your characters and beat these early battles.
Right.
That's so interesting because like I am a big fan of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance because like I was like 12 when the game came out. So like that was like my tactics game, and like that is one of my top Final Fantasy games, right? I love that game.
So
and I was like, oh, okay, like I've always wanted to play tactics, and I'm like, let's see what the difference is. And they're very similar, obviously, but like it's interesting to see what didn't make it, like what they took out for Advance, because like the permadeath on your characters, if they go like 3 turns without being rezzed, like the permadeath was crazy to me. The spells not going off immediately, like you have to be like, okay, like my spell's going off here, but it's gonna go off in 2 turns. And I ran into so many situations where I forgot that, or like they'd put a spell on a unit and then the unit would move and I'd commit like, you know, I'd start damaging my own team. And it's like, I think that's a really interesting, And once I got the hang of it, I found it a little enjoyable. Because like obviously the enemy team does it too, so you can just like walk away if they try to cast a spell on you, or if they're trying to heal, you can walk into it. But I feel like what was crazy to me is people complain about the judge system in Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced all the time, like the rule cards, like you can't use stabs, you can't use black magic. But this gave me a better appreciation of the law, because these dead bodies are in my goddamn way, okay? Because in Tactics Advance, the judge will like pause the game and he'll move the corpses out of the way, okay? But in this game, they don't move the corpses, and I can't get through because there are bodies everywhere. And I'm like, these bodies. And then like I think the terrain in Final Fantasy Tactics is rougher than the terrain in Advance. So like if somebody is like half a foot above you, you can't hit them with like a double heal, right? Like, oh, sorry, they're a half a foot too tall, so the spell's not gonna touch them. And I'm like, what is going on here? Because like it's a great game, but I'm just like, move the bodies.
It's strict. Yeah,
move
it's
them.
tight. I get it.
Now you know what it was like
reached...
living in medieval times, just corpses everywhere.
Yeah, it's
Tripping over these corpses.
Very little healing. I mean,
I haven't hit a point in the game yet where like I really feel like all of that is coming together, but I can tell that it will. Like I can tell that I'm going to be able to hit a point where I will be able to kind of corral enemies into one area and then hit many of them at the same time, or like anticipate that they're going to be moving into something and set up something. And so like I am really excited for it to hit that point. You can tell just from the very beginning that this is a game where you're like, I can make some broken builds in this. Like it's very clear. I just have not gotten to that point yet. So it's a little bit of a slog in the beginning. Also, I get the fast forward button. This is going to sound like a weird gripe. It's not fast enough.
We're going through like all the enemy turns. It's like, okay, I got it. Yep, totally.
It's still really slow.
Yeah.
Sarah, to your point about Tactics Advance, I think Tactics Advance is a really cool game, as is its sequel. I like the sequel better, actually. But the one biggest problem for me with that game is that classes are restricted based on races, the race of each of the characters. And so some of them are way too overpowered, like the Banga, however you pronounce it, are way too overpowered. And you can't really do as much customization and like creative game breaking as Kelsey was describing as you can in this game, which is one of the things I always loved about this game, is that kind of you have these kind of two, you have these short-term goals of like, okay, I want to clear this battle, I want to like gain some JP, whatever. Then you have this long-term goal of like, okay, I'm gonna think about this character's plan over the next like few hours and how I'm gonna ultimately level up their white mage and then their time mage and then whatever to get them to be a calculator, and then I can do this, this, and this. So there's a lot of cool planning that you can do that I've always appreciated about tactics, non-advanced, tactics regular.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then when you play this game, I guess like my one question is like, you know how like the game will like give you party members, right? Like they'll eventually give you like main story party members, not as guests, but like permanently. Do you use them? Like, because I think if you use them, they have dialogue and battles. But sometimes I'm like, okay, like I'm working on like the girly squad. It's like all women, right? And they're like, here's this gunman. And I'm like, oh, he's not really like with the vibe of the team, but I feel bad not using him.
Yeah, so this is actually, it's a new feature for this game. So in the original Final Fantasy Tactics, there are these characters who come out like Gunman, who you described, Masadio. So all these characters pop up. And they'll be guest characters for a little while, and they'll play a role in the story. And then when their role in the story is over, you can recruit them to join your party. But then they don't play any part in the story from then on out, because you could, in theory, just like dismiss them and not have them in your party anymore, which is kind of a weird thing. And so in the original game, it was just as if they didn't exist anymore. For the remaster, one of the things that they've added is actually these lines of dialogue and battles, where if you bring one of these special characters into battle, they will sometimes talk, and that happens a little bit more later in the game. Yeah, I mean, you can play how you want. I think at a certain point you're kind of disadvantaging yourself if you're not using the special characters, because some of them have such broken abilities. Especially there's this guy called Orlando who is almost infamously overpowered in this game, and there's like, as you get into really hard battles later in the game, you're kind of like a fool. You're handicapping yourself if you don't use him. But of course, if you build a powerful enough party, like using your girl squad, then that is totally
That's gonna be my
viable,
goal.
and you don't have to think about it. The dialogue that they did add for the game is cool, but it's all pretty just like superfluous. Like you don't need it. It's just kind of adding extra character and depth and flavor to the battles, but it's not like changing the story or influencing the story in any sort of way.
Yeah, and Matsuno, he consulted on this. He wrote that new dialogue. Like he was involved in this remake in some ways, right?
Yeah, Isumi Matsuno, the original director of the game, was involved with this, and it's the director, Mihiro, is actually was a programmer on the original game, like a low level like grunt programmer on the original game.
That's cool. Yeah, the messaging is so confusing these days with companies and the remakes and remasters, because I think everyone always wants to say, built from the ground up. It's a great bullet point from the back of the box, but it's so rarely true. And this is one of those cases where it's like, well, they said that they lost the source code, so we had to completely rebuild it. And it's like, I still don't know what that means. I don't know if that literally means we are sitting down, blank slate, starting to program and develop this art and just glancing at a PlayStation running the original Final Fantasy Tactics for reference. Like, it's not that. So I don't really know what this is. Like, it is as faithful as you would want. It's not feeling like a full-blown remake, but I don't really know how much they had to work with this.
Yeah, that's what they've said. And Mihiro, I interviewed him a few weeks ago, and that's essentially what he said to me, was that it took a long time because they had to like recreate all this source code, and they had an engineer working on it while most of the team was working on other projects. So this was made in the same Square unit that also does Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 16. And so the project started 2019, something like that. And most of the time it was just this one engineer working on recreating the source code. And then everybody else joined, and it entered full development after 16 came out. So in 2023.
Jeez.
Yeah, which is really interesting. I don't know the mechanics. I'm not a technical person. I don't know the mechanics of exactly how that works. If he has access to some sort of stuff, and there were subsequent releases like the iOS and PSP release that came out later that presumably they do have some sort of source code for. I don't know, but it does feel in many ways almost identical to the original version, all the way down to the gimmicky, like totally unbalanced nature of some of the battles. In this game, the difficulty is like, so man, all the discourse about Silksong's difficulty, those people should try Final Fantasy Tactics, because like this is a game where you'll be playing one battle and you'll just like immediately clear through like 5 nights in like 3 minutes, and then you'll wind up in a one-on-one battle between your main character Ramza and like some dude who can just wipe you out
that
in
was
2
a
hits.
rough battle. I was having them stand on the ramparts, and I was like, yeah, buddy, come over here where I can hit you with my black mage. I was like, come here. Like, I'm not going down there. You got to come up here.
Well, what's funny, Sarah, is that's just one of the one-on-one battles that like you'll have to. There's one in the 3rd chapter that's even tougher than the one
I just got to the 3rd chapter. I did struggle in one area because in that one area you can't really backtrack. You know, sometimes you'll kind of just get trapped in a very small area of the map, and you can only grind out one area, and that's what I was working on. Yep. Luckily, they let you bail out of those 2-part battles because, like, I would have been screwed if I couldn't bail out. But, like, what ended up happening is, like, I unlocked Dragoon, and I was like, oh, I want to use Dragoon, and it's like, there's nowhere you can buy Dragoon weaponry. So here's your Dragoon with a crossbow. Like, kisses, good luck, have fun. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. But then that boss battle, I just kind of was spam restarting the battle. So my black mage would survive the initial attack, which is nice that you can do that. But I was just like, retry from start, wipe, retry from start, wipe.
Doesn't
Not a
feel
wipe.
good.
I just sent in my black mage like an atomic bomb, like a nuke goes off. Most of my team died, but we made it out. She did like 300 damage.
Jesus.
Okay. But like, that was like the only that was like my strategy. So a little, you know, broken meets broken sometimes because I was struggling.
Yeah. I mean, Sarah, how does it compare to, I know you love the Tactics Ogre Reborn remake from a couple years ago. Are you enjoying this like on the same level, or where are you at overall?
I think this one's definitely better because it has that like advanced class system that makes it a Final Fantasy Tactics game. Yeah. I love like the mixing and matching of the classes. Tactics has different classes from Advance. Like they have cooler ones, like Orator, I believe, is a class where you just like convince the other team to like delay their turn or like join your team, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
And then they have like Mystic and stuff like that. So it definitely it's really nice to have this, and I'm glad that I encountered it as an adult and not when I was 12.
Yes.
Because Advance is definitely, you know, it's easier. It's got a little more whimsy to it. It's got Moogles, which I feel like is already like a plus. But this is definitely like a denser version of that.
It's so funny. I mean, back in the day, this was always like, you know, I fell in love with Final Fantasy VII, obviously. So I was like hot and heavy for like PS1 RPGs. And this was one that like my smarter friends are always like, I mean, obviously Tactics is the best. I'm like, well, I've tried it. I bounced off it. But eventually in high school, I made it like maybe 20 hours in or something like that, but then kind of fell off. But it's all just like a hazy memory. But I jumped back into this and I thought it looked better than I thought it was going to. And at the same time, just like, yeah, the RPGs where it's all just dense lore about kingdoms and then you're kind of fiddling with stats and builds. Like this is just, and tactics, like there's just 3 ingredients that's like, I just can't. I gotta bow out. Sorry, Final Fantasy smart people. I'm not that level of Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, it's a tough hang, I think, if you don't already have some base knowledge. And then, yeah, I mean, there are those difficulty spikes like Sarah described. And then the one really infamous one is at the end of chapter 3, there's a couple of battles. There's one battle where like your objective in the battle is to protect this character from getting killed. But as soon as the battle starts, one of the enemies will just go and kill that character before you even have a turn to act. And so the only way to win is to like find some way to either like get a character who has like ultra speed and can act first, or have a party member who's completely naked, so they will be a more appealing attack target for the enemy, and so the enemy will attack your naked character instead of the character you're trying to protect. That's how like ridiculously stupid and unbalanced this game can be sometimes. Jesus. So Ben, to your point about this being for smart people, I mean, yes, people who think to dress down one of their characters, remove all their character's armor so that they'll get attacked first.
It's absurd.
Can you just grind your way out of these problems though?
Not that one, because that one you can't change the level of this guest party member who you have to protect, and so they will just get like destroyed.
And I assume they're like on the other side of the map too.
Yeah, they're like, you're on a rooftop and they're like a few tiles away from you and you have to find a way to get to them. And it's doable. I mean, obviously the game can be completed, and then the battle before that is like this infamous one-on-one battle that I hinted at earlier, that you pretty much have to rig your main character in a way that they can beat this one-on-one boss, which is very difficult. I mean, you can either use like auto potions so they heal automatically, or like there are a couple other techniques. A lot of people have found ways to break it, but like basically you need to know going into this that you need to find a way to break the game. And a lot of people over the years, because in previous versions of the game, you couldn't just like bail in the middle of these consecutive battles. And the sequence I'm talking about, it's 3 battles in a row. The first one is like totally fine, doable. And then you can save after the first one. So in the PS1 version, the PSP version, you could save. If you only had one save file and you save after the first one, you can't leave after that. And then the second battle starts. It puts you in a one-on-one battle. You will lose immediately unless you have some sort of way of saving your main character or cheesing the battle in some way. And you can wind up totally soft locked and just have to start over from the beginning. It's really quite a problem, or it was. That's been fixed. But the battle itself still sucks.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Tactics fans seem to be happy.
Well, and I need you to guys all please buy this because I want more Final Fantasy Tactics games. Like this is still one of my favorite genres. So like if everyone could just please buy it, I'd really appreciate it.
It's done well. That's the good news, Sarah. It's done well.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
I redeem a code we get for it and then don't play it, does that help you in any way?
Could you leave a review?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, be like, wow, this is really great.
Just
and it's
leave
like,
it running.
0 hours.
Yeah, leave it
think
running
the
for like
codes-
25 hours so it looks like you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's
That
the
I
least
can
you could
do.
do. Help the cause, man.
Leo, I do think Steam codes, press codes that we get do count as sales. Like, I think they have to be registered as like purchases.
Interesting. That's good to know. Well, there we go. Final Fantasy Tactics, everybody. And now the big news. EA. Rumblings were happening. What was it, just last week? They're like, hey, this company might be going private. And then it was officially announced that this deal is presumably going to happen Q1 2027 if it goes through. But there's no way this is not happening, right, Jason?
Well, I mean, I guess shareholders could vote it down. And then there's also a possibility that like another interested party comes in and says, hey, actually, we want to pay even more for EA. That seems unlikely. There's also, I believe, a $1 billion kill fee attached. So EA would have to pay $1 billion to the investment group if this doesn't go through. But yeah, most likely going to happen. Going to close at the beginning of their fiscal year 2027, which I believe is June of next year. I don't remember offhand. April of next year. It's like 6 to 9 months away is when they're expecting to close.
Okay, and the big thing is they're going private. Can you explain? It's $55 billion. Can you explain the buyers? Run it down, Mr. Bloomberg.
Sure. Yeah. So this group of investors, which is the PIF, aka the Saudi Arabia Sovereign Wealth Fund, is the biggest one, but also Silver Lake, the private equity firm, and Jared Kushner's own investor group, which itself is funded largely by Saudi Arabia.
Right.
The three of them are kind of the three big parties here. They got together. They said, hey, we're going to make this deal. And it is a $55 billion acquisition. I believe about $36 billion of that is funded by equity, meaning those groups have raised the money and are putting that into this. And then the other $20 billion or so is funded by debt. Which means they are taking out a big old loan from JP Morgan, and that debt is going to then be put on the books at EA, meaning it's what's called a leveraged buyout, where the company you are buying is then going to inherit the debt that you buy. You are essentially saying, hey, I'm going to go buy EA with EA. It's a bizarre financial mechanism here in the United States of America.
That's been poo-pooed a lot. Like Elizabeth Warren is very against the ideas of these leveraged buyouts and stuff, but they're still totally kosher.
Yeah, they've been a little less popular in recent years, I think, because there have been a lot of high-profile failures. Toys R Us is the one a lot of people know about. There have been some others, Joanne Fabrics, a couple others over the years. But there was another one earlier this year, another high-profile one. Skechers, the shoe company, did an LBO.
They got Skechers?
Earlier this
Oh
year.
my
Yeah,
God.
they did an
Sketchy.
LBO. And there have been a few successful ones. Hilton had an LBO that was successful. The general idea, so this one is unusual. The general idea is that like a private equity firm will look at a company and say, hey, this company is either distressed or it's in an industry that is going nowhere, or maybe growth is not not kept up with what we expect it to. And we're going to take it and we're going to do a bunch of cost cutting and make it more efficient, and then turn it around 5-10 years from now. We're going to either sell it to someone else, or we're going to relist it on the public market with an IPO that sees it get much better results than it did before. That is the kind of the overall idea. And in this case, it's kind of unusual because Saudi Arabia is taking the biggest role rather than private equity. And we don't really know what that means or what it's going to look like. It could be the same sort of playbook, and we could be looking at like them coming in, taking this company, cutting costs, making it more efficient, quote unquote more efficient, whatever that means, and trying to sell it again
AI
in
will
5 years.
fix it.
Exactly. That's one of their goals here. It's kind of sort of like saying that they're going to make a company more cost efficient with magic beans, but I guess like, yeah, sure. That's what they're going to do. And so we're not really sure what it means that Saudi Arabia is doing this. Like, do they want this company long term? Is this part of their big strategy? They've been making investments into pretty much every big game company, Nintendo, Take-Two. And in fact, they already had a 10% share in EA. 10% of EA's shares were already owned by Saudi Arabia. So yeah, kind of an unusual situation. One thing we can say for sure is that I can't think of a single time that this has happened and not led to big layoffs.
Right.
I think that no matter what EA management says, which right now they're saying we have no plans for layoffs. Yeah, sure. There are going to be big layoffs as a result of this because there always are. And a big part of the math here is that like that debt that I mentioned before that is now on EA's books, they are responsible for making the interest payments on that debt, which is a significant amount of money. Just to do some simple math, if it's $20 billion, I think the final number on their books is going to be something like 18. But let's just say for simplicity's sake, $20 billion, let's say it's a 5% interest rate. I think that's like optimistic because I think it'll be higher than that. But let's say 5% of $20 billion, that's $1 billion a year in interest payments. EA's cash flow is something like 2 billion, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. You have to look at the projections in the next few years, but let's say it's 2 billion, right? So that's like already you're taking 50% of what EA makes every single year and putting it into that debt. That's pretty nuts. If you want to like get back to your previous cash flow before this deal, that means you have to save $1 billion. You have to shed $1 billion off the books, which, yeah, this is going to be a lot of cost cutting, a lot of job shedding. I imagine, I mean, who knows what their strategic play is here, what their overall like operation strategy is going to be, but we could see them try to sell IPs and studios and just kind of shed costs is going to be the first thing we're going to start seeing.
But it seems like such a drop in the bucket. Like, you know, a lot of people, I get it out there are listening. They're like, does this just mean that a new Mass Effect game is more or less likely? And it's like, well, probably too soon to say, but probably less likely. And BioWare seems to be like the biggest outlier. But even if they sell off BioWare, how much are they getting for BioWare at this point? I mean, if they include the IP, I feel like that's still barely a dent in the amount of debt that they have to make up for just for this deal to go through. It just seems like such a shit show.
Yeah, BioWare is very small potatoes. They're like less than 100 people now. I wouldn't think of it in terms of, I mean, yes, obviously if you sell one of your assets, you are getting something for it, but you're also removing those salaries off of your books. So that's kind of the dual win of shedding assets in that case. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a combination of a lot of things. Like, we really have no idea. The Saudi Arabia hasn't come out and said, like, this is what we have planned for the long run. They're really invested in sports. They have this whole giant golf organization, Live, that they've started. They're all sorts of investments in soccer and basketball, and they're like, they've got their fingers everywhere in sports. Could be that this is just a play for their sports organization. And a year from now, they could be saying, hey, we're not interested in EA games that aren't sports, so we're just going to sell those or shut them down and just focus on FIFA and Madden or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, lots of possibilities here. We really don't know. We've never seen anything like this before. It's the biggest leverage buyout in history. And it's also just kind of this entity controlling it that isn't like a private equity company. So we don't really know what their playbook is. It's
so confusing. Just to take it back to square one, as Mark McDonald would say, talk to us as if we were a babe. Why is EA doing this? We're used to the idea of companies buying companies,
but a baby or like a hot person.
You're flirting with us.
Yeah, talk to us like we have like pretty privilege.
Yeah, like you're flirting with us by explaining this situation.
Right, and we're all twirling our hair, but it's like, we understand that like companies buy other companies, but the idea of going private, why would EA and Andrew Wilson be eager to do this?
Well, I'm putting my arm around you.
This is getting uncomfortable.
Well, babe. Yeah, no. Well, so for Andrew Wilson, the upside is obvious because the deal, the $55 billion valuation, is, I believe, $210 per share, per EA share, which is something like a 25% premium on what it was valued at before all the rumors started. It started spiking on Friday, once the Wall Street Journal started reporting on this, that this was happening. So essentially, you are getting 125 on the dollar for every share of EA you own. So that's a very compelling deal. If you are an EA employee who has a bunch of shares, which is, I mean, they have a big employee stock program that a lot of employees have participated in. So this could be a windfall for you, even though you do have to worry about job stability at this point. And then also EA shareholders, including, I think, Andrew Wilson is as the CEO of the company, who's been paid largely in stock over his tenure. He will benefit a great deal from this. It's also, I mean, if you're the CEO
great.
of the company,
Go, Andrew, go.
yeah, good for him, right? He gets to buy some new sports cars. He gets to buy a new island, really.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think that they might, again, I haven't talked to Andrew Wilson. I don't know exactly what he's thinking, but I think that's compelling. I think you might, if you're Andrew Wilson, you might see this as like the peak valuation for EA. You might think that it's not getting much better than this. EA stock, up until this deal, EA stock had underperformed compared to the overall S&P, which is generally not where you want to be as a stock, because like if you're a big company, your goal is to beat the overall stock market because you want investors to see you as an individually appealing stock. There's kind of this belief among people who watch the industry closely, among analysts and pundits, that the video game industry, especially the console video game industry, has moved from a growth market into a mature market, which essentially means that like you're not seeing massive spikes, you're not seeing double-digit growth anymore. You're seeing just kind of like flat growth or single-digit, low to mid-single-digit growth, which is what we've seen from the video game industry and from EA over the last couple of years. So I think that is generally seen as a time where it's like good to get out and be like, okay, now we can move over and sell while we're at our very top. There's also, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the economy? Like if a lot of smart people are just like, man, if I can take the money now before, like, who knows what's going to happen with tariffs and government shutdown that started today, and who knows what else is coming ahead, and our brave new Trump America could be like a lot of people are just seeing warning signs and want to get out.
And so like there were rumors that they were floating the idea to Disney, right, of buying EA. So they've been looking for a buyer for a while, and then here comes Saudi Arabia and these other investment firms. All right, let's just bite the bullet and go for it. But like, what do you think this means for the future of EA games? Like, they're going to tighten up production overall, right? But I mean, from previous history, it's like, okay, the Savvy Games Group, which is also with Saudi Arabian government, they own SNK. And it's like, hey, they made a new Fatal Fury. And I think the biggest impact directly that we can see is stuff like, there was a DJ character that was playable in Fatal Fury that was only in there because the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia really liked that DJ. Like, that seems like the most like direct comparison, right? Like, I've been trying to get a sense of like how influential will the government and the royal family of Saudi Arabia be on these specific games moving forward?
Man, I have no idea. I just have absolutely zero clue. The only thing that I think I can say almost for certain, is that there will be cost cutting and layoffs and like quote unquote efficiencies, because that is what happens every single time there is. I mean, first of all, any sort of M&A, that always happens, but especially with LBOs, that is what happens. Yeah. I really have no idea. And that's part of what I was trying to get at before, which is that like, unlike your typical private equity play where there is a playbook that is pretty straightforward, and it's like, we're going to buy this and hopefully turn it around and then turn a profit on it, whether it's selling it to someone else or making it go public again. With Saudi Arabia in control, like, who knows? Like, maybe they are buying it because they want to change all the games. Like, I really have no idea. They're very interested in sports, so it could be like that sports play, and maybe they want to put their favorite athletes and I don't know, go to the Super Bowl, get MBS performing at Super Bowl halftime show. I have no idea. It's just like the the number of unknowns here is just astronomical because we've never seen anything like this before.
But even just thinking about all the directions this could go to, and it's kind of, worst case scenario type stuff. I think about like, okay, what Margot Robbie is making that movie based on The Sims. Are they going to like downplay any homosexuality in The Sims moving forward and the movie going forward because of this ownership from Saudi Arabia? Like that type of stuff is just the weird tendrils you can spin out trying to think about.
Yeah, I saw that. The first thing I was like, no, my Sims, right? It's like a huge Sims fan. And I'm looking at like Paralives, and I'm like, I need you guys to hurry the fuck up. Like, we only have until like there's a date on that wall where the Sims might go away, and I need you guys to get it together.
Yeah, I don't know. This is pure speculation. I don't have any reporting on this, but it seems more likely that they would want to sell assets that they're not super interested in than try to change them in some way. Like why deal with the blowback of like changing the Sims to like remove like LGBT stuff? Why do that as opposed to just offloading it to someone who's more interested in the franchise? But I have no idea. That is just entirely me just like trying to think about what could happen.
And again, there's no reporting on this, but close your eyes, Jason, and give me your gut answer. Has Jared Kushner...
Close your eyes and imagine a babe.
That's right. Yeah, any babe you want. A babe in the woods named Jared Kushner. Has he, in his life, played and appreciated the SSX series? Do you think?
I do not know. He did say in a press release that like he played games or mentioned like EA's games growing up, and now he plays them with his kids. There is reporting from my colleagues at Bloomberg on the deals team have reported extensively on this. They have reported that this deal has been in the works for months, and that it had these fits and stops where it would just like fits and starts. Ebbs and flows, starts and stops.
Spits and
started
bursts,
and stopped over the last year or so. And that Jared Kushner was the instrumental, just like broker behind making sure it happened, even when it was stopping. So he played a pretty key role in this thing.
I feel like women have suffered a lot under this administration, and I fear that like losing The Sims is just another giant hit to women.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. It is such a weird one. It has to make you laugh.
Ben, I get that you want to be, neutral-ish on this because we don't know what's going to happen. But this is bad.
Of course it's bad.
I think we're all agreeing this is bad.
Of course it's bad. I don't think we can say, like, the Sims are going to end. Like, that's one of their biggest cash cows, Like, if they want that cow to keep making that milk.
Will it be the same? There's no way in hell.
Right.
What I would say, just based on what we know right now, I would say this is definitely bad for EA's employees. Like right now, we know that there's going to be cost cutting ahead. I don't think we can say this is bad for the games and for the Sims because we really have no idea what they have planned.
I'll say it.
Like, but we just don't know like what they're planning. Like there's no indication. There's no reporting I've seen. There's no indication anywhere that they want to do so. They want to go. They're buying this so they can ruin the Sims for everybody.
Yeah,
and
but if I've learned anything,
cool stuff from it,
it's to assume the worst, and whatever you get will actually be worse than that at this point. But yeah, I don't.
I do not believe in the leveraged buyout as a concept in any way, shape, or form. Like it is not a thing that should be legal. It doesn't make sense when you explain it out. It's just, I don't believe in it, and I don't think that there's a way that this doesn't become worse.
That's the part that I'm talking about when I say this will be bad. The part that I think is more of a question mark, and I've seen a lot of assumptions around, is like Saudi Arabia coming in and wanting to make everything more Saudi friendly or like more like get rid of LGBT stuff. Like we just have no idea if they have any interest in that. I think they're savvy enough to be aware of like the gamer backlash that would happen and the outcry that would happen if they tried to do something like remove gay relationships from The Sims. So to me, that seems pretty unlikely. But you're right, Kelsey. The thing that we can kind of objectively say this is going to be bad is suddenly EA goes from a company with like, I don't know how much debt they currently have, maybe $1 billion, maybe less, like a normal operating amount of debt, to a company that has $18 to $20 billion in debt on the books. And that is objectively not a good thing for the company and its employees.
I do wonder how tapped in they are to gamer backlash, though, if they are buying EA, one of the most widely hated companies in gaming.
Right.
I think
there's
they're
lots they still
widely
get out of it, but
man, it's funny you say that, Leo. Someone asked me about that the other day too. I was like, I think it's hated among the Reddits and Resetters and podcasts and YouTubers of the world. Among my like normie group chats, people just think of EA as like the company behind Madden, which they buy every year, or like the company behind FIFA or whatever. Like I think, or like they think of it, my high school friends group chat after this happened was just people making like joke versions of like that EA Sports it's in the game phrase, just like different versions of that. Like that's how a lot of people just associate it as just a neutral thing that is like, oh yeah, that's the company behind the sports game.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, there's definitely a lot of backlash among the enthusiast crowd.
Yeah. And do we think it's clever or hacky to spell it out like EA Arabia? Have you seen that? It's like,
Why were you thinking of that for a title for the podcast?
It's just going to be that word like 4 times. Yeah, I'm just kind of testing it out, see how it works. No, but it makes me think of just like, it is so sad. The rollout of Battlefield 6, which feels like it has been Hail Mary of the game industry right now to be like, wait, Battlefield fans are feeling good? Like Battlefield 6? It's like on track? Is this going to do it? Is this going to get Battlefield 6 and Battlefield back? And then for this at the 1 yard line to be like, and Saudi Arabia owns it. It's like, it is just the greatest unforced error. So we'll see how that rollout happens.
You know what's funny about that? I don't know if they're doing press. They turned down. I had asked them about like getting executives to talk about Battlefield. And they said no to me a couple weeks ago before any of this happened. I don't know if they're planning on doing like big press pushes with their execs and stuff, but like that's gonna be interesting. A lot of no comments, a lot of creative ways to say no comment.
Vincent Pella will actually just squish his lips together for the lack of comment. There's not even, he's not gonna breathe for a couple minutes if you ask that. Yeesh. All right, there's EA, everybody. In the world of business, Leo, you know what's a nice, cleaner transaction to make?
I don't know if we should even talk about this with our leverage buyout that's coming up.
That's right.
I've decided to buy MinnMax using MinnMax as my money.
Wow.
Oh, we can't say no. Sign the deal. So much debt. Zero debt here, everybody. Thanks everybody going to patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. Thanks everybody for finding a tier that's right for them. If you've enjoyed our content recently, you've enjoyed this episode of the MinnMax Show so far, you can help us out by subscribing on YouTube, or the more direct way, hundreds and hundreds of times more helpful, is jump in at even that $2 tier just for 1 month. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also, you have until this weekend, if you want to jump up to the $50 tier and put an image of your choice in a slideshow on every MinnMax video, the Wall of Heroes tier we call it, that's an option. So if you want an image of the indie game you're working on, indie developers, jump on this, please. Or a cute picture of your pet, your favorite game, inside joke, Halloween costume, whatever you want for the month of October, you jump up to that $50 tier and it'll rotate in that slideshow through every MinnMax video. It is $50 for 1 million impressions throughout the month. You can't beat that. So help support us and get a bunch of eyeballs on your passion project, please. And of course, thank you to some of our biggest supporters, I Am 8-Bit. They have available for pre-orders right now, but closing on October 6th, so jump in there soon. They have a bunch of stuff for the collection with blueprints. Physical version of blueprints that includes a notebook, you'll need that, little collectibles, little books, notebooks, keychains, pin sets, all that fun stuff available at I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store. They do physical versions of games like nobody else, and for everything in I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store, you can use the promo code Halloween. Like holla, like you always say, Leo, like holla. Right. Halloween, everybody. Check the description for 10% off of everything under $100. Help support I Am 8-Bit because they support the MinnMax community in a huge way by shipping out a prize each and every week to whoever submits the best question on Patreon. We have a post going up every single week that asks for your questions for the podcast. We choose our favorite person, favorite question specifically, and then that person wins a great prize from I Am 8-Bit, and it rules. Help support them because they keep this stuff rolling. So whoever has the best question this week, Jason, they win the vinyl soundtrack to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Where is Dirigiblocks, the patch that has been promised for blueprints? That's what I would ask 8-Bit.
Come on, I Am 8-Bit. Relay stuff over to them. Get it rolling, please. But yes, the Mario movie soundtrack is going out to the best question here. So remember who has the best question. They'll win the sweet Mario Brothers movie soundtrack, which is a vinyl I listen to a lot more than you all would think. It is surprisingly good. All right. Elliot Robinson writes in, oh, the great prognosticator. They say, looking ahead to the future, will we ever see another new console from Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo be a complete flop? Or our fan base is just built in at this point forever?
We've had recent flops.
The last two Xboxes, specifically?
Yeah, I feel like the flops are inevitable.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine Xbox having another successful console. Kind of the flip side of that. Maybe we should just focus on Nintendo and PlayStation, because that I think is the question. You know, it's interesting. I mean, it depends what you see as flop, right? Like, I think the PlayStation 5 has been successful, but it's also, its trajectory is pretty much on par, maybe slightly better than the PS4s. So it hasn't seen the kind of the growth that a lot of investors might expect. Like, you expect the market to keep growing and growing, because that's what we do here in capitalism, is we watch number go up. And the console market hasn't really changed that much. It's still 100 to 150 million people. And there are probably a lot of reasons for that, one of which being that kids these days are all just playing Roblox instead of consoles. Another being that consoles are incredibly expensive and only like upper middle class people can afford them. But regardless, I mean, you could say that like the PlayStation 6, if that is like the same level of like the same, if that follows the same kind of growth trajectory as the PS4 and PS5, is that really a success? I don't know. Because it depends what their goals are. But
just stable. Okay, what about the fantastical theory of Microsoft's next Xbox? I'm obsessed with this. I know we just talked about this. If it releases and it's like you can play all your Steam games on the next Xbox, which seems like might be the case, do you think that console will be a success? Or is that going to be drop in the bucket, no one gives a crap?
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
I would say. I mean, like, they're going to have to charge an astronomical amount of money for it. And at that point, why not just buy a PC?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the Rogue Ally will kind of be a little bit of a test here. When that launches.
$1,000.
Right. Yeah, it's bananas.
I don't know. I would be so happy if Nintendo changed their approach again. If they did a surprise like the Switch was not even that long ago. But it just doesn't feel like what's happening in this business anymore. It feels like you have what you know people want and you give it to them.
Yeah. But you want like the wackiest Nintendo console. Like when you see their weird prototypes of controllers where it's like a circle with a star on it, you want that to be like the next console.
Yeah, I want it to be another Wii U where people are suddenly like, Nintendo Switch breaking sales records and everything. Suddenly you're like, what is that? Who makes that?
Right.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
I have video games at home and it's called the Nintendo Switch too.
Forever, yeah.
They did just announce the Virtual Boy accessory for the Switch too, so.
They got
that could be the
made.
Switch 3. They're laying the groundwork.
It is kind of funny to charge for your flops from the past. You know, like they're going to make more money, I bet, off of that weird reissuing of Virtual Boy than they got close to with the original Virtual Boy. It's such a weird cycle that we're in.
Wow.
Monetizing your flops. Casey Matos says, last week, Ben said that he's excited for the Silent Hill community and that they have something good to look forward to, the release of Silent Hill F. And that struck me. As a huge Silent Hill fan, as an odd way to put it, I guess I've never considered myself a part of any community. Am I a weird freak who's potentially missing out on some sort of connection by joining specific subreddits and discords and communities? Or is there anyone here today who shares my sentiments?
I feel like I have the same issue, right?
Yeah.
Is I love a lot of things, but I've never been like an active part of any forums. I've never been like, oh, this is like my Tumblr account dedicated to Animal Crossing. Like, I've never done that. I've never actively taken part in fandoms.
Really?
And I don't know. Like, I enjoy things, but I don't need to look at other people enjoying them or participate with other people enjoying them to enhance my enjoyment of said thing, right? So it's like, it's weird because, like, I'm of the age where I feel like I should have had like a fan account. I should have had like a Tom Nook Instagram or something.
Right.
But I just never, and I still have it as an adult. And I'm like, is that weird? Like, should I be like participating more in like the online discourse? Like, I kind of just enjoy things on my own.
Even though I'm shocked by that.
Do you like browse that content though?
No.
You're not on any of the like subreddits or don't get fed in like Animal Crossing Instagram content.
Well,
Isn't
like,
it
usually,
your job to
well, like I community
community
manage, right? So it's like I'm more of a manager, and I think because I have that perspective, when I look at people doing things, I just think like, oh wow, like what a really good participation. Or I think like, oh, that's going to cause issues down the line if they continue with like said meme, you know? So it's like, I don't know. Like I will look at subreddits for like certain things, but I don't like actively like check them. I'm like, oh, look at this funny meme, Umumusume meme.
Yeah.
The Umumusume subreddit that I've just stumbled upon. But yeah, I don't like actively submerge myself in fandoms.
I think I'm largely with you, except for like, it does help things every once in a while. Like watching Survivor, like a primo dork, but then that Survivor subreddit is so funny and so smart, and like just devouring that after the episode airs has like tripled my enjoyment of Survivor. I think it's like I want to see what the real smart nerds and the funny dorks in here are saying about this episode. So like, I don't know, am I part of the community though? I'm not like jumping in there.
I do the same thing, but I'm not actively commenting.
Right.
So I feel like I'm
either.
not.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm not. I don't like actively go online and like comment on things and like participate in the discussion. I just read the discussion like I'm a voyeur of what other people are saying.
I wish that I could just browse and not feel the urge to correct people what I feel like.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
I do feel like TV subreddits are pretty good, and it's fun to go like post-episode discussion. That adds a lot for just about any show I watch, even if it's just like, I didn't like this. Did people usually like this? And usually people are sharing their favorite jokes or whatever. People do like stuff on those subreddits, which is versus gaming subreddits, which I pretty much always regret joining because I joined because I really love something and I want to talk about it more and see clips and share clips and stuff. And then it is only people wanting to complain, which is not.
That's the
how I
issue
want
with a
to
lot
funnel
of
my
like,
energy.
gaming subreddits. I feel like they tend to spiral if not like managed properly into just kind of like a complaining, you know. They we all just share our complaints, and it's like, okay, well, at least you have a spot to do that.
What do you do then? You need to like have a post every 2 weeks at least of kind of just the Jurassic Park flair of like, over here, here's a post your hate here, just to like try and corral it a little bit.
A lot of them do like mega threads. Like once a week, there's the mega thread, and it's like your complaints or your favorite, like just anything that gets posted way too often.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, it makes me think of like you, Kelsey, with Animal Crossing. Like you diving in online for the first Animal Crossing release. Like that's probably a huge component of, I don't know why that game is so sticky to you, right? It was just kind of like the ancillary stuff.
I was like a moderator on an Animal Crossing forum for Wild World and City Folk. And so it was like, you know, I'd get home from school and then I'd hop on the computer and be doing Animal Crossing stuff for, you know, the afternoon.
Don't bug me. I'm doing my Animal Crossing stuff.
No, I wish that was me. I feel like I care, but I don't care enough sometimes. You know, like I look at like Kelsey in like the Animal Crossing forum, and it makes me feel like my enjoyment. I'm like, did I really enjoy that as much as Kelsey did because I wasn't moderating an Animal Crossing forum?
The
answer is yes.
Oh,
right. Like somebody else doing more doesn't like diminish my enjoyment of said thing. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy how some people just fall into that.
I would not be a mod now for anything. Like that was something I really enjoyed as like a 13-year-old. I'm not jumping at the chance to go be a forum moderator now in my 30s.
But we really appreciate the Discord mods for MinnMax, and they're doing a great job.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Thanks,
it's a lot of work. But that's that's exactly why I wouldn't do it. It's a lot of work.
Truly, we're talking about this. My gut answer to this question was it can add so much to your experience to find a community for the thing you're liking and to share and learn more about it and connect with people on it. But the places you go when you Google community for this thing are not always that good. And something like the MinnMax Discord, it is really fun to have those channels for games and to pop in and out of there and see what people are talking about when it's curated to a group of people that I love to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
It's a very, very different proposition.
For sure. Fancy Graham writes in, they say, why do people dunk on or immediately dismiss musicals? I feel like they usually get a more exaggerated response out of people than the typical, it's just not for me comment when talking about other genres. Why the hate for musicals?
That's a great question. Musicals are awesome. I think the concept of like a story where people will just break into song to express their inner thoughts is so silly on its face, then maybe that's a large part of why they've become kind of a punchline for some people. But the actual, like, the quality of musicals is so good. There's so many good ones.
And you have to be so vulnerable to do a musical where you're singing and performing so earnestly. And people are scared of being vulnerable, and they see other people being vulnerable and gives them a negative reaction. They put it on the thing they're seeing. Right.
And that idea of, okay, in musicals, typically the idea is like songs break out when you have a lot of emotions to convey. And it's like going Super Saiyan with your emotions. That's when songs happen, right? In a musical, just to make it cool and relevant for gamer discussion. But it's like, I think, especially on the guy side, like that idea of like, emotional media. Why would I consume that? And like, not saying everybody who hates musicals is homophobic, but I do think there's a certain amount of like cultural homophobia that's also associated with musicals. Like, that's that weird gay stuff. No way. Like, I think that definitely was in the water growing up in a big way.
Interesting.
You gotta have some willingness to be open to like whimsy and maybe even a little bit of cheesiness.
Oh yeah.
To enjoy it. And I think for some people they just, it depends on your upbringing, but there are some people who are like so allergic to cringe, like any just sincere cheesiness is so difficult for them to even witness, let alone like enjoy. And that sucks. You're missing out.
Yeah, totally. Like,
yeah, I think sincerity is the key word there. Totally.
But it's so weird because I think so many of these people that will claim like, I hate musicals, get really passionate about it. It's like, well, surely you liked Disney movies when you were young. Like, is it just that weird stigma? Is like once you were a teenager and you were like, all those movies I liked as a kid sucked. And so therefore anything associated, anything that's closely feeling like an old Disney movie, you have to turn your back on in this weird, aggressive way. It's just weird. I don't get it.
Yeah, one thing I'll say, though, is that there was just that musical RPG was announced last week. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. Maybe someone has it. But there was this, it kind of looks like K-pop Demon Hunters. It's like a musical turn-based RPG. And I saw pretty positive reactions to that overall on like Reddit and Resetter. I didn't really see anybody being like, oh, look at this stupid musical. How dare they come up with a musical?
But if Call of Duty was a musical...
Well, that would be hilarious.
Oh, I'd be so into that.
That sounds fantastic.
The title track is Press F.
Press the F.
That's so
sharp.
interesting. Yeah, because Japan makes musicals out of everything, right? Like I just saw the Sailor Moon musical. There was a Prince of Tennis musical. There was a Ace Attorney musical, or there's a Yakuza musical.
Yeah.
In Japan, and I think we need to do more of that in the West. I want every little IP that I enjoy, every little thing that I enjoy, should also have an accompanying musical.
Yeah, like the Pokemon musical.
Or we should see game adaptations of musicals. Like imagine a Fiddler on the Roof video game. When I would play the hell out of that.
Oh, yeah, but you need to like unlock the Fiddler class after like 20 hours of play.
Yes,
and on the roof,
there are a lot of spikes in difficulty along the way that you have to bonk your character. Tevi has to bonk his daughters on the head a bunch of times first.
Smart. People of Note is the name of that Annapurna game, by the way.
There it is.
Yeah. No, I feel like it was like, I love like the South Park musical, but there's definitely a gap in my life, right? Avoiding musicals. Then it was like, dating somebody at the time, and we're just like going back and forth watching YouTube videos. And she's like, yeah, I mean, you've seen Chicago, right? I'm like, nah, I haven't seen that film. And then she just put it on YouTube like that we both reached for the gun sequence from Chicago. And I was like, well, this is just as fun as filmmaking can get. Like, why am I not absorbing more of this? It's amazing to watch. Anyways, go out and listen to a musical, everybody. Not Weirder writes in this, hey, MinnMax, I've been thinking about the NYU's Game Center department. Recently, we've had several projects emerge from current and former members of the school. There's Baby Steps, created by two professors, Bennett Foddy and Maxie Bach, and one graduate, Gabe Cazillo. Another is Consume Me, which we talked about before, led by two graduates, AP Thompson and Jenny. The game actually originated from a prototyping class taught by Bennett Foddy. And the lead programmer and designer of Despalote, Julian Cordero, is another graduate of the program. Some of Jacob Geller's favorites, Universal Paperclips and Betrayal at Club Low, are both from current faculty members at NYU as well. I love how this small pocket of the industry is constantly producing boundary-pushing games. Thank you, Not Weirder, for the report on this. Are there any communities of game developers that you like to keep an eye on? Probably should try to.
Can I just say it's funny? The NYU thing is funny for two reasons. One is that I graduated from NYU, I believe, 1 year before this started. The Game Center started.
Oh no!
Which is very funny because there was just nothing like it while I was there. I did take a couple of classes that were like involved games in some way, and they were all incredibly well, actually, one of them was decent, but one of them was incredibly stupid. This professor literally just had us play this game, Empire Earth, and like create a mission in it. But that was the entire class. So every day we would just have to go to class and just like sit in front of a map editor for Empire Earth, whatever. The other funny thing is that I live in New York. I used to live in the city. Now I live in the suburbs, but I lived in the city for 15 years. And there's very little video game community, like development community in there. There's Rockstar. There used to be an Avalanche office. Yeah. And there's a big Take-Two office for their like lawyers and bankers, finance people and stuff, executives. But other than that, there isn't a lot of like game development scene. So if like the NYU Game Center might be the biggest gaming community in New York.
Weird. There's stuff like what, Vicarious Visions? Are they like upstate New York?
That's in Albany. That's like 4 hours away from here, 5 hours away from here.
Okay. Sergeant Peppa writes in, they ask, what's a more satisfying sound? Walking on fallen leaves or freshly fallen snow?
Snow.
Yeah, snow.
It's hard to not include the foot feel of snow, though.
Which is a plus as well?
Which would obviously rocket it way ahead.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, just the
to
sound.
pretend that's not there, just the sound.
Yeah, you're just hovering.
The sound of snow is superior, but the overall milieu of fall is better than winter, I would say.
It's just fall smells better, so you got to factor that in the same way you can factor in the feel, I think, of the snow is like, what's in your nose?
But I feel like for me, it's the silence of winter, right?
so
when
good.
snow freshly falls, the sound is muted, right? It's a very, and I think I like, whenever I play video games that have like a walking on snow, I, as a Minnesotan, feel like it's my job to judge it harshly. Because the sound of snow changes based on temperature. It changes based on like how freshly it's fallen. It's a very distinctive sound that I feel like is hard to grasp. But I definitely feel like, it's the muted sound of everything else except for the crunch that you would hear. And then everything else is just like muffled.
And I remember for that crunch, I remember going on the cover story trip with Game Informer for the Assassin's Creed 3 cover story. And like, they had the whole sound design section of showing off how they're making sound designs for Assassin's Creed 3, which had a lot of snow, right? Connor running through the trees in the snow. And it blew my mind because the way they made that sound was they'd had like a bag of flour. Like flour in like a burlap sack type of thing. And then if you just like push your hand into it, it makes the sound of crunchy snow, which is very sweet.
Wow. Wild.
Wow. Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate
that.
No,
that's so cool. No, that fully stuff is so interesting because it's like, how do people come up with that? Like people thought to themselves, we need to recreate snow. Let's get some flour in a bag.
Yeah, that's the secret, turns out. Blaine Farrell writes in and says, with the announcement of Ben Hansen's new kiddo, thank you, hello. I was thinking about when I was a kid and all the weird niche games I had. One I fondly remember is Chorok, not Turok, Choroq. What is a weird niche game?
Oh, Choroq?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks like it. Weird. Kelsey, God bless you for knowing Choroq.
It's Choroq.
Oh my God. Thank you, both of you, for improving this. Yes. And this is like a PS2 racing game?
Yeah, it started much earlier than that, but I think that's the first one in the US.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah, there's like a couple on N64, and I've apparently been pronouncing it wrong this whole time, so thank you, Sarah.
I just Googled it, and it would just like came up with like the Japanese logo.
Smart, thank you. What is a weird niche game you remember playing when you were younger?
No, I think I just feel like all my games are niche, because it's like, oh, well, did you guys play Barbie Rapunzel? Did you guys play Barbie Movie Maker? Like, I feel like they're all unintentionally niche.
Barbie Fashion Designer was one of the biggest releases in 1996.
Yeah.
Until PPO Bang.
Maybe they're not. Yeah, Laura's Happy Adventure. Have you heard of it?
Ubisoft Montreal's first game.
Ubisoft.
Well, I could go on and on with like NES games that I had that were just terrible, and I'm sure nobody else has played. But there's one I had. My parents had this old Mac, like one of those pre-iMac days where it's just like the big like beige square, and it had a bunch of games, including like graphical adventure games. And there was this game I played a lot called Enchanted Scepters, and I would be curious if anyone out there has played that game because it was really tough and annoying and bizarre, but like as a 4-year-old or whatever, you don't know better than like when a game is impossible to play, you're just like, oh, okay, I'll just keep trying it over and over again. It had really cool sound effects, I remember. Maybe they had a bag of flour. I don't know.
This art is awesome.
It's like one of those. It's like a medieval game. You're like a knight or something, and your job is to go collect the 4 and like scepters of earth and water and wind and fire, and you have to like fight ogres and stuff by collecting like a sword and an armor here and kind of use it. It was kind of like Zork, like a text adventure like that, where you like type in things in an interface. You're like attack ogre or whatever. But there were graphics unlike Zork and unlike a lot of those text adventures of the day.
As a Mac gamer growing up, most of what I had was niche. Either like big things that would get ported because it was big enough, or niche things that nobody's ever heard of because I would take what I can get. Maybe most niche is from Mac Addict magazine. You'd get demos on a disc, and also like shareware when that was a thing. So you'd get like the trial version, and you could pay via wire transfer or whatever and get the full version of the game. There was a series called Yipe. The Quest for Yipe, where I played Yipe 3 a lot, and eventually ordered the first 2 on floppy disk.
What are these?
Old Apple II.
Ish,
what
Leo.
year was
Ish.
it?
Ancient. It certainly looked it. I remember emailing like the developer of that game and telling how much I liked it, and I'm appreciating that email.
P.S. Also, you nailed the name. Good job, developer.
Yes, it got me hooked immediately. Also, of course, the games that came with iMacs, Bugdum, Automatic, Nanosaur, Pangea Software, that developer, getting into those games, going into that person's whole like gameography. Maybe most obscure is called Weekend Warrior, which was like for free download on his website, and it was kind of like a parody game show, violent, the contestants get killed type of thing before there's 100 billion of those. But it's a single player going through these like puzzle rooms where people are trying to kill you.
It's weird how niche we can actually get with these games because of how varied platforms were back then.
Right.
Like they're varied now, but then they come out on every platform. Because like I remember, do you guys remember like when Serial had CD-ROMs in it? And I would play the Captain Crunch's Crunchling adventure game 4 hours, where you got to raise and train your Crunchling, and then it would be on a skateboard and it would do sick flips.
Ooh.
And it would age, and then eventually, I don't know what happened to the Crunchling, but it would graduate into whatever, like was it a factory worker? And then you get a new Crunchling.
Sounds great.
Well, wait a minute, you were training them to work at the cereal factory?
I don't remember, right? Because you would get like a baby Crunchling. And then eventually you'd like level it up, you'd grow it, you'd go through all these mini games with it, and then it would like.
It's nice of them to wait until the Crunchling is an adult before employing.
No child Crunchling labor here.
If you want to have pity for me forever, Sarah, that Crunchling disc worked on Mac and PC, which is great. But on Mac, you could only make your Crunchling, and you couldn't play any of the mini games. And I would watch my friend do the skateboarding at his house on his PC, and I would just make my Crunchling.
But goddammit, I love those Crunchlings. Leo, I'm just remembering, didn't we have plans for a Pangea Software thing like a year ago that I completely forgot about?
I was going to ask you about that.
We got to do something about that. Crap! They've been waiting for us. Did you guys ever play Liero on computer back in the day? Liero. Like, I was just hungry for any local multiplayer game back in the day on PC specifically. And it was real-time worms is the easy pitch for Liero. But it was like, what do you mean? This game is just free and you can download it and it's like bloody and fun and a bunch of grappling around. And it is just a wild history where I think it was, Finnish, sorry. And eventually it just went open source and there's a bunch of fan versions that all merged together. But it's just so crazy to me that there are probably millions of players of Liero, and now there's just like no version on Steam. It's all just, it's still kind of shareware. Just download it for free. Enjoy Liero, everybody. Outlandish Beats says, hey, MinnMax, Team Cherry released Silksong with little regard for launch norms. Announcing a release date 2 weeks out, which stepped on other games as launches, dropping it without preloading it, or allowing for preloading, which crashed all digital storefronts, not sending pre-release codes to reviewers, even settling on the $20 price point, which is said to have lowered the expectation for price bars for other games. Team Cherry seems to think of themselves as a little indie studio, but what, if any, responsibility do they bear for these issues when they knew how impactful Silksong would be?
People are just not normal about this video game.
Correct.
I have so many thoughts on this, but first and foremost, I think that like the internet community, by which I mean people on social media, people on gaming sites. I mean, I know there were a lot of editorials on gaming sites about how Team Cherry owed the industry more than to announce this game just 2 weeks in advance or whatever. I think the internet community tends to treat people differently if they are not like actively on social media and engaged with that community. And I think we see that a lot with the Japanese developers, where people talk about Japanese developers in a little bit of a different way because they know that those Japanese developers are not reading their thoughts on Blue Sky or like interacting with them on social media or whatever. And I think Team Cherry is in kind of a similar position in that they are totally almost entirely offline. It's just 3 of them full time in this little office in Adelaide in southern Australia. They're not engaged on social media. People can tweet about them, pretty much assuming that Team Cherry is not reading their stuff. Maybe people on gaming websites are writing articles without having ever talked to these people. And so they kind of just like think of them in almost not as people. And I think that kind of guides a lot of the conversations that we've seen surrounding Team Cherry and Silksong. And it would be a totally different thing if, like, as an example, they were Supergiant Games and maybe they were on social media and were a little bit more involved with communities and were talking to people more regularly, because somehow we didn't see this discourse about Hades 2 having a shadow drop of its 1.0 release. So let's kind of, people should maybe think about that a little bit more before voicing their opinions on how Silksong has destroyed the video game industry or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder if the early access thing kind of, not that Hades 2 launch isn't a big deal, but like if that was just...
Well, even that early access, wasn't that a shadow dropper? It was very, very, like they announced that very close to it actually coming out. So
yeah, I think so. But it is just, I'm sure from Team Cherry's perspective, let me read into these basically anonymous people, even though I know you did that interview with them, Jason. But just, it just seems like they're probably coming from a pretty modest place of just like, I don't know, we just want to get it out there. Let's just drop it. And I don't think they're thinking we're GTA 6 and we can harm a game like Demon School if we happen to pick the day that indie game is also launching, right? I think it's coming from a place of genuine modesty.
I can kind of offer their perspective because I asked them about some of this stuff. I did an article about the game's development, but some of the stuff I talked about with them wasn't included in that, including I asked them what their plan was, like if they planned on giving out review codes. I think when I tweeted about that or Blue Sky about that, that set off a whole firestorm that I didn't expect. But like when I asked them about that, they were like, it almost seemed like they hadn't even thought about it. They were like, oh no, like that kind of feels like it might be unfair. Oh no, that's too much time. Like we're just worried about shipping the game. At one point I asked them, I was like, hey, if you guys get nominated for Game of the Year, are going to come out to LA, like would love to say hi. They were like, oh, like you think we would be nominated for Game of the Year? Like, that they're not really thinking of things in terms of like the lofty weight that has been planted on that game. The other thing they told me is that like the reason they did this whole like we're going to announce the release date 2 weeks in advance thing is because that is exactly what they did for Hollow Knight, and a lot of how they approach this game, both in terms of development and team size and kind of like not paying attention to the fan community and the external pressures, all of that is kind of trying to mirror the approach they took on Hollow Knight because it worked so well for them and they had such a good time making it. And I think that's worked really well for them. And so they were like, oh, with Hollow Knight, we announced the game 2 weeks in advance and then just put it out. And so they wanted to do the same thing here.
That's so interesting. Because like as somebody who's been like working in the indie game space for a while now, Silksong was always like a boogeyman, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what's the worst that could happen when we choose to launch our game here? And literally it was like, well, Silksong could release, like that literally, is a consideration when people would talk about launching games. It's like, how could this go as wrong as possible? Like, what's the worst case scenario? And it's like,
Saudi Arabia.
The most anticipated game of the 5 years could drop the same day your game drops.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it's Team Cherry's job to like protect other indie developer teams' feelings or like, I don't think it's their job to like, defend the indie arena or whatever, or like, watch out. Or I wish I could be that level of detached as Team Cherry. Like I am very enviable of them. Like, well, we just did the same thing with the first game, and we for one are shocked that this happened. Like, where have you been? Because I don't even work on your game, and I knew it was gonna be like a world, like record breaking,
Yeah.
I think they knew it was
agree
going to
with
be a
you.
massive hit. I just don't think they think about it in the same way as like a lot of people online do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's not their responsibility. It's not, they're not the ultimate protectors of the indie space. It's not like they need to tread super carefully. But also, like, guys, Hollow Knight sold 15 million units. You don't get to be, small bean, I guess I just didn't know it would be a big deal. Come on, it sold 15 million units.
You want them to strut down the street a little bit. They need
Well, I just want, I think it is, I don't think it's reasonable to expect them to be, to be perfect and to protect everyone else and all of that stuff. But I also think it's a little unreasonable for them to, pretend they didn't see this coming.
I don't think they did that. That certainly did not happen. If that's how you interpret it, that's not what I am trying to convey here. I think they knew that it was going to be a hit. They had an idea of the expectations here. It's just that they're very much offline and not really focused on all the memes and the kind of the hype that is built around it, which I think is probably a good thing for their mental health. Imagine having to live up to that kind of pressure. So I think they were very aware that it was going to be big. It's just they weren't thinking about it in terms of we are going to leave this massive crater when we launch our game. I don't think that had occurred to them. I can ask them about it next time I speak to them, but I don't think that's something they were really even thinking about. They were just thinking hey, this is what we did for Hollow Knight, so that's what we're going to do this time.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's interesting to me that they could, after selling 15 million units, not have considered that. It's not it genuinely, it's not a screw these guys or anything like that. I just that is surprising to not draw that conclusion when you know how much your first game
But they are
sold.
very lucky and fortunate that they did that, because Hollow Knight was so successful. They really didn't have to worry about these things, because that it's going to be a success. It's going to work out.
They also, I think, when you're on podcasts, when you're paying attention to the industry every day, you think about these things in a totally different way. Kelsey, you say when you know how much your first game sold. They didn't know how much their first game sold. I asked them on our conversation.
They've looked at the bank.
Well, not really. I mean, they just know they have an infinite amount of money. They have enough money to fund them for the rest of their lives. Ari Gibson actually told me, I was like, has the money changed, you guys? He was like, no, I live in this little 2-bedroom apartment. I kind of wish I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment because I'm just in the office all day anyway. It'd be less to worry about. I asked them how many copies has your game sold, and they were like, oh, we don't know. Let us get back to you. And then they emailed me afterwards being like, we checked with our publishing guy and he told us we sold 50 million copies. They did not know that. That is not, it's not,
Crazy.
I think that they just have this totally different mentality than industry watchers do. And that's an important part of this as well, is that a lot of us talking about this and a lot of people on the forums talking about this are the types of people who are paying attention to Steam concurrence every week and how companies are doing and what games are coming out throughout the rest of the year. Most normal people, including Team Cherry, are not really paying attention to that stuff. So that part I get. But I own a business and I know how much is in my bank account and I know what's going in and out. I think
that's the part that I have again, this is not shade.
If you had $80 million in your bank account, you might not have to think about it so much.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's definitely they don't have to think about it. And I don't think Team Cherry has to change or do anything differently, right? I don't think we should be persecuting them for being well, you didn't consider, because it would have happened. No matter where they put their game, no matter what they price their game, there would have been discussion about it, and there would have been. I think it's more that we have to be more accepting of not every indie studio needs to be as tuned into the space. We shouldn't also expect them to make an indie game and then also have a perfect understanding of the ecosystem and their effect on that ecosystem. Because that's my job, right? Is to understand that ecosystem. But I'm not going to go to 3 developers and be like, why don't you understand that when you price your game at $20, other teams can't make a profit because they have to price because their games aren't as successful. That's my job. That's not their job.
I mean, it's going to be a big deal when Fields of Mystria goes 1.0. I don't know if you know that, Sarah. But could you imagine having those conversations of all right, we want to drop on this day. Let's see if there's any indies we should spare and choose another day, because it doesn't seem like you would ever have that discussion, right?
No, I think you would.
You would.
I think most people look at, when they're releasing a game, you look at what else is coming out near said game.
But you look for what's above of you, of like what could possibly dampen you, not what you're dampening.
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, well, yeah. I don't think you'd be like, oh no, like such and such game on Steam is coming out, we should move. But yeah, I guess like when you're a behemoth that is Silksong, you really don't have to mind. I don't think they were worried about competition, period.
Yeah.
I don't think they think about it in that sense. I don't think they look at other games and they go, well, our Hades 2 is a big competitor for us. Like, I don't even think sounds like they don't even really think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe the most salient thing that they could have noticed or could have planned for is the preloading thing, crashing the storefronts. But still, it's like, how often does a game do that? And maybe that's because most games let you preload. But that's not something like I would consider.
Yeah, totally. Travis and Fargo writes in, they say, anyone else have an uncle who's really into AI? Sounds about right. Oh, you got one of those, Leo?
Friend's dad. You know, they pop up throughout your life in random places. Oh, this person really likes AI. It's suddenly really defensive when I say AI is giving me wrong answers on Google all the time.
Yo, people give you wrong answers too, dude.
He says you got to know how to ask it right.
It's actually your fault.
It is right. So gross just to see it seeping in different areas. You know, like I saw my sister posted on my mom's Facebook page. Facebook is a place to be, everybody. Everyone's got to go. But, you know, like, hey, here's a AI rendering of like your place on the lake as like an abstract painting. And there were so many comments like, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. It's like, oh, thanks. I made it in ChatGPT. Isn't it beautiful? And there's not one comment of like, this sucks. And it's like, do I need to be the person who's just the ultimate buzzkill for my mom to be like, this art you like? It's fucking evil.
Every time I go on Facebook, there's a suggested post of Keanu Reeves doing something nice in an airport that's clearly AI generated.
Yes.
AI generated story, never happened. Check the comments. Nobody ever questions it.
Yep.
Everybody's so, yes, nice guy. He did it.
But also Facebook you have to remember, Facebook is like 70% bots at this point, if that makes you feel a little better.
Well.
I hope so.
Yeah, a little bit better.
But I guess if it's your family members, Ben, those are probably not bots.
You should be worried they've been compromised.
I haven't seen them in years. Yeah, they refuse to get together in person. I think something's up, you guys. No, but like, I don't know, just the little instances where I was hanging out with a group recently and we're listening to some music and I was like, what is this music? And someone's like, oh, it's like some AI generated music. I was like, are you kidding me? And it was like, I'm like, I don't want to be an asshole, but I was like, we got to shut this down. Like, this is not, we got to stop. Like, and thankfully, like, another person in the group was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this as a group. It is deranged.
It's weird how, like, it casually slips into people's lives.
Yes.
And they'll so casually be like, something that completely could have been like a Google is like it became a ChatGPT conversation or something. And you're like, oh my God, it's definitely, And it shocks you, like, when people do it too. You're like, wait, I thought that we were different. I see you in a new light. It's so weird, like the new light you see people in. Yeah. Like, it's not like a cutting someone out of your life offense, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Now I have to rethink this whole thing.
And you gotta hope they see it as a novelty that's like cool now and they're just gonna get bored of it. But because I think we are vigilant against it and we should be and we have to be because of what's at stake. But you go on YouTube and you get suggested the Lord of the Rings characters rapping about weed in photorealistic style, but they have dreadlocks. It's like, people just are going to want to click on that. We can't make a case for why they shouldn't click on that.
Do you have the URL? Can you just Slack that to me real quick, Leo, by the way? I gotta see.
Yeah, that stuff is I don't know. I think there's a lot. There's some of it is certainly the novelty stuff. Some of it seems like people have just fit into their daily lives. Like I listen to a fantasy football podcast, and every time they do anything, they're like, "Oh, I just asked Gemini about this, this, and this for this stat or for this thing." It's become a search engine replacement for a lot of people, which is why Google has pushed it so hard, is because they're worried about getting eaten if they don't. And I guess people are just willing to accept that the answers will be wrong a certain % of the time. That is kind of baffling to me, that part of it. But I can see the appeal when it doesn't have to generate like fact-based things. Like, for example, the other day I was like, okay, is there any way that I could find a way to like, is there any way I could find that ChatGPT could actually be useful for me? And I wound up asking it to make a budget based on X, Y, and Z. And in that way, it was very useful. Like, it saved me probably an hour that I would have had to spend in Excel, like doing a budget. So it definitely has its practical applications. I also feel like the kind of anti-AI crowd might at this point be more of a minority than the people who are just relying on AI.
I think a lot of like my biggest problems with it is where it's seeping into everything and being far less useful than what existed before it. I was just on a website where I was trying to find how to submit feedback. I had to talk to an AI that then hallucinated a fake feedback page. They were like, you just need to fill out the survey on our feedback page. The link to that just went back to the chatbot. Like, I was like, I have to talk to a lying robot to tell you that you have a lying robot problem on your site to figure out how to tell you that. And that the amount of AI chatbots that are 100 times less useful and more frustrating than anything that was there before is, I mean, it's so unacceptable. It's just like nothing is usable anymore. And that's an exaggeration, obviously, but like so many things are becoming way less usable, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah. And it's so much about branding of, look at this advanced AI we have powering our software, when it is a language model that does an impression of what sentences sound like.
Yeah, man, that's the stuff that hopefully there's a breaking point on that stuff. Like, hopefully even people who are like, oh, I like ChatGPT, it's very helpful for me writing emails for my business or whatever, hopefully see a breaking point when it just becomes so inshitified and useless to even browse the internet anywhere. But I don't know. The real question is when the AI bubble is going to burst and like Wall Street is going to realize that there's no actual profit potential in so much of this stuff, because that, I think, will not only be telling for the future of AI, it'll also have all sorts of like ripple effects for the economy, and that's gonna be wild. Yeah. Like I mentioned before, I mean, part of the whole EA thing is like, hey, have we reached peak valuation? What's coming in the future? Part of that might be the fact that like the stock market for the last couple of years has been riding on these top 7 stocks, and they're all based on AI frothiness. And once that stops, who knows what's going to happen to the entire market? And EA like could be anticipating that bubble bursting in the near future.
Nice. Ranagogo writes in, they say, howdy MinnMax, it's October now, congratulations, which means it's scary season. Now the horror fans can tell everybody about how many scary movies they watched and how they weren't actually very scary. Now my question is, scary things are supposed to be scary. Why do these freaks think it's cool not to be scared? I'm scared just thinking about being scared, says Ranagogo.
I also think
people who eat spicy food and go, that wasn't spicy.
Right.
It's the same thing, you know? Like, it's
you
cool
guys are in
Minnesota.
Scared. You probably have the, like, I wear shorts and sandals outside when it's snowing people. Yeah. Maybe one of you is one of those people.
Yeah, we're cool if that's what you're asking. Yeah.
No, I get cold.
Yeah.
Kelsey, I thought you were going to say you guys are in Minnesota. You think spicy.
I thought you were going that direction too.
I was ready to throw down.
We're above that, like, Jason.
Okay,
we're so above that.
Hey guys, I've heard about hot dish. You guys discussed me.
Hot dish is too spicy. There is something to this. There is something about like the thing that you supposedly love, just constantly talking about it in a way that deflates it. It's an odd thing. I'm trying to think of what the comparison is. Yeah, I guess it's the spicy comparison of like, I need spicy food, but nothing's spicy to me. So what's the point?
Well, it's also, I think people who don't watch a lot of horror movies also say it a lot. And it's because it's like, I didn't think I could possibly watch that. And then I watched it and survived. So it couldn't have been that scary.
So they're trying to spread the word and help people?
Maybe. Or just as like, I was prepared for way worse.
Right. Yeah.
Or even, and probably for horror buffs too, it's like, oh, the movie that scared me the most, it wasn't even close to that.
Right. They're all wrong, though, consuming scary stuff. It's just scary. Embrace it for being scary.
I want to take this opportunity to say, if you consumed a scary thing with a friend or with the lights on, I don't care whether you thought it was scary or not.
You need like headphones on, lights off, 3 inches from your TV. Consume it. Yeah.
And it's got to be dark outside. Yep. If it was light outside, it's not the right vibe.
Yep. Get out of here. Tess writes in and says, hey, MinnMax, it's time for our favorite show, horse or human? Why did I have to say that by myself? Come on, you guys. It was brought up on Pew Pew Bang's horse episode that someone should make this quiz. So please tell me if the following names are 2025 American college football players or Japanese dirt classic winning horses. Dirt
Sarah,
classic.
I feel like we'll be good at this.
I don't know. If it's just Japanese dirt classic, that means, what was its name? The Skibbity Riz horse that was in Minnesota isn't going to be on the list.
Yeah, but they might be into a Musume.
Okay, Sarah, horse or human? Forever Young.
That's got to be horse.
That's a horse. Jason Schreier. General Booty.
A college football player.
Correct. Congratulations. Kelsey, Mick Fire.
I'm going to go with horse.
That's a horse. Leo, Dannon Farrow.
Football player.
That's a horse, what are you doing, Leo? That's a horse, dude.
Oh, it's a pharaoh that's Dannon, right?
Yeah. Sarah, Demon Clowney.
Can you spell the last name?
Yeah, Clowney.
I'm going to say human.
And how?
Football player.
Correct. Jason.
Human horse.
Jason, Squirrel White.
That's a football player. I know that name.
Wow, congratulations. That is a football player.
So this is perfect timing
Big
for
Squirrel
me
fan.
because like in one of my sports text threads, someone recently just posted a bunch of hilarious names of college football players.
Okay.
So I kind of know a couple of these, including Squirrel White.
Nice, perfect. Yeah, you're part of the football community. You're not just a fan. You're engaging with it.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
text
The
threads.
Reddits. Yeah.
Yeah, smart. Football subreddit's the best subreddit. All right, what do y'all like for question of the week? Jason, you got a favorite out of this batch here? Uncle
I
into
like weird
AI.
niche games from childhood. It's a fun question.
Pretty good. How are you feeling about that as a group?
That's good. I like
Okay.
musicals too.
Yeah, musical's good. Musical's good.
Musical's good.
Congratulations, Blaine Farrell, horse or human. We're not sure, but you just won question of the week. Congratulations. I'm Apit's shipping out that Mario movie vinyl. Now it's time for something we call Get a Load of This. Hey, everybody. Get a load of this. Believe it or not, I've been going down a rabbit hole. I'm joining the community of fans of one battle after another. And so, of course, YouTube's just recommending everything under the sun with Paul Thomas Anderson. And there's just this great little YouTube video for Phantom Thread, one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies, a movie that I love more the more I watch it. But there's a YouTube video that's just him running camera tests like weeks before they started filming for Phantom Thread. It's just like, we're just trying out different lenses, different costumes, different environments. And it's just a quick little commentary of him running through like, okay, here's this shot. Here's what we saw was wrong with this. Here's why Daniel Day-Lewis wouldn't wear this type of cloth in this environment. Here's why we had to repaint that backdrop. It's just like a level of filmmaking that I'd never seen before, of them actually running through the tests and him actually narrating like, here's how we saw this. Here's why we had to tweak this. It's just a cool little bit of movie magic for Phantom Thread, the best damn movie.
Get a load of this. Also the best damn movie. Crocs has released Twilight Saga clog Crocs. And on one Croc, there's Jacob's face. And on the other Croc, there's Edward's face. And they're covered in like distinct imagery of Forks, Washington. Tinted in the very distinct like twilight shade of blue that the first movie was shot in. And all the little gibbet charms have like, there's like a little like locket charm that you open and it's like Jacob's face. And then there's a locket charm you open and it's Edward's face. And the Jacob one says, "It's his where you been, Loca," which is like the greatest quote from the movie.
That is.
And they're $75
A steal. I agree, Sarah.
for these Crocs. I'm obsessed with them. I need them.
Mm-hmm.
I need more Twilight I mean, there was a bunch of Twilight paraphernalia when it came out, but I love that they're finally weaponizing my own nostalgia against me, because I feel like that doesn't happen enough for me personally.
Yeah.
But now finally, here we are, Twilight Crocs.
I saw they're re-releasing all those movies in theaters this October and stuff too. If you want to go for
Are they
your
really?
sicko marathon, yeah. Congratulations.
I will say, sitting down and watching all Twilight movies in a row will cause a level of psychosis. It's something about those movies, which I do see them as a classic. I do think if you haven't seen them, you should see them because they are absolutely something.
You want to come to Forks?
Ooh.
I've been to Forks, Kelsey.
Oh, you've been to
Whoa!
Forks.
In fact, when I was like 15 or 16 in the height of the Twilight craze, my family did a road trip out to Washington. And because of Twilight, one of the stops was Forks, Washington. And it was insane to see. Like every little store had like a cardboard cutout of Bella and Edward. Everyone claimed to have like Bella's truck. Like they were banking, like we were like single-handedly funding the Forks economy at that time. And like, you know what? Good for them.
Kind of it.
Yeah. Good for them.
Smart.
Okay, I'll go. Get a load of this. I just pulled up some of the names that are also common. Also, some of the college football players. In addition to Squirrel White. You guys ready? There's some good ones. The Realist Clark.
Hell yeah.
Prayer Young Black Goat.
Black Goat?
Prayer Young hyphen Black Goat.
Wow.
Mobility. MOH first name.
Oh, I hope they're really good. Please tell me they're a running back. Please.
They're cornerback, so they're fast too.
Count.
King Large.
Hell yeah.
Squirrel White is a good one. Rocky Beers. Rocky Beers. D Icy Hopkins. D hyphen Icy Hopkins.
I kind of like that one actually.
And Memorable Factor.
Memorable
Factor.
That is a horse. That's crazy.
Whoa.
So it's a
We need to really
linebacker
level up.
and Duke.
Yeah, we need to work on our naming.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Why am I not reaching these levels of names?
Yeah, we're all blowing it.
Get a load of this. This is a very silly thing, but I wanted to shout it out because it was fun. My partner and some of his friends this last weekend went on a mission to go to every Molly Moon's, which is a like local ice cream chain here. They went to every Molly Moon in one day, which is 11 of them, and they didn't use a car. So they had to get to all of them with other, public transit, bikes, Lime scooters, whatever.
No Ubers, like you can.
No Ubers,
Okay.
no cars involved, and they pulled it off with like 18 minutes to spare.
That's very
They
good.
hit all 11 and they got to the last one like right before it closed. And I just feel like if your boys' trips don't look like that, they should start looking like that because it was really cute and wholesome and I'm happy for them.
Aren't you glad he's not into like gambling or being a drug addict? Like,
As far as I know, yeah.
Right. He's
Yeah,
an
I
ice
will
Did they
say-
get ice cream at all 11 of them?
One of the people in the group did.
Oh, I thought
and
that was assumed.
Severely regretted it.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ben,
Oh my
you
God.
maybe you could eat that much ice cream. I feel like you've like got kind of a stomach of steel going on over there. But
No, I don't. I
I-
have a tongue of steel.
Oh.
The rest is not good.
I probably would have tapped out at like 3.
Yeah.
So they did better than that. But no, most of them did not try to do that at every single one.
I didn't have a good one ready to go. I'll just share an article I liked recently from The Conversation, which is acetaminophen use during pregnancy not linked to autism. Our study of 2.5 million children shows. I just think it's a good bit of
That's
interesting
crazy.
little
That's
science.
interesting. Who would have thunk it? Hey, get a load of this from the Discord community. Clam Watson shared this tidbit in the Discord.
Wait, is that another name? Is that his?
That might be Clam's real name. I have no idea. But
Clam Watson.
Yeah, Clam
Love
says, get a load of this. The Video Game History Foundation, you know them, Kelsey, they just released a bunch of historical records from a former executive at Activision, spanning from 1988 to 1994. These documents offer rare insight into executive-level management from the early history of one of the biggest game companies. And they say, disclaimer, I helped out in a very small way by writing a script for them to process the files and redact sensitive personal info. There's a link if you want to see the raw papers from this Activision executive. And they also released a video kind of highlighting it and talking about some of the details of it. And there's fun stuff in there, like there's record in 1993 of them developing with Steve Moretsky Planetfall 3. And on the systems that it was going to be released on, one of them was Nintendo CD, which is like before Nintendo PlayStation. This was the predecessor to that it was actually listed like, oh, that would have been like a launch game or something for that confusing attachment. And then also they were making a game, I forget if it was Planetfall, but there was some game that they saw as like a rival to Seventh Guest. They were collecting a bunch of stuff anywhere they could for early reviews and impressions on Seventh Guest. And this was all just in these papers. And there was a review written for Seventh Guest on, I don't know what early message board, something. But it's like, oh, the puzzles are dull. Seventh Quest, it looks good, but it kind of plays like crap. And then this review is written by one Jeff Keighley. And it's like Jeff Keighley's first review. They happened to dig out in this Activision executives papers, and they confirmed it with Jeff. And he's like, yeah, I wrote that. That's me. So fun old stuff.
Is the documentation, is it like mostly just about the games, or is there stuff that's like emails about like...
There's emails and stuff. Yep.
Governance and stuff.
Yeah. So check out
what's really interesting about that period for Activision is that that was what year was it? I have to... It's like 90 or 91 that Activision went from being in San Francisco under... I believe, what was the guy's name? Whatever his name was, the guy was running it when it was called Mediagenic, to getting in the hands of a one Robert Kotick, who took it to Los Angeles around 1990, 1991, something like that. And it became the Activision that we had then knew of, and that no longer exists, I suppose. But the one that most of us knew about. And
the one that you write about in your book.
Yeah, I wasn't going to plug it again because I promised. But yes, Play Nice, The Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment, which is now in paperback. October 7th. 1991 is when Kotick took it over, beginning of 1991. Wow. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and talk about, community stuff. Like you read Jason's book about the history of Blizzard, you'll love it. It's so fun. It's such a... I want to call it a fast read that makes it seem like it's 90 pages. It's a thick book, but you'll fly through it. It's so fun and compelling. And then we did a whole bonus discussion about it. You can find it on MinnMax's YouTube channel or in the bonus podcast feed. All right, but for MinnMax stuff, we have Pew Pew Bang, new episode dropped this Monday, finally tackling Pokemon in a huge way,
Hey.
For the first time, I feel like
this
Pokemon
podcast was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, the next podcast is also very long, but Pokemon is such a hard topic to cover in just like one episode. We definitely did our best, but like...
There's more to say.
There's so much more to say.
Okay, but check it out.
It's a big topic.
Hell yeah. Subscribe to Pew Bang in your favorite podcast app, or if you support us on Patreon at the $5 tier, you get the ad-free version, which has a bonus pre-show called Sarah's Loaded Gun with hypothetical questions. So,
and I don't want to brag, but they're really good.
Okay, that's bragging. You might as well just brag about your book at this point, Sarah. New
I
show.
don't have one.
I don't want one. New Show Plus this week was a super fun time where it was Haley and Leo and I going through random YouTube videos with 0 to 10 views or so that were uploaded right from iPhones from the year 2009 to 2014. I know it's an absurd premise for a show, but it was like a beautiful slice of humanity.
It was awesome. The most views on any of them was 130, I believe, for a Harlem Shake video. Which is great.
It was really good. So check that out on YouTube. Also, bonus pod this week. It is Haley and Anna talking about games that look too good to exist. Kind of in the Doke-V territory of like, okay, does this game actually exist, or is this just a great looking trailer?
How do you feel about that, Ben? Do you still believe in Doke-V?
I've bet everything I own on Doke-V. I think it's hidden. It's going to be an absolute masterclass. And I am a huge fan of Killzone 2 as well.
And then literally on the Monday meeting, you went, I don't lie, I never lie. So who are you?
What was that beat you and Janet were going at that I lie all the time about not watching content? I don't think I've ever lied about that.
The context for that was you said that you really like Taskmaster, and then you also said you don't like Taskmaster.
Oh, that's good. That's good context. I think I'll gloss past it and tag along like, oh yeah, Taskmaster, sure. But if you really grill me on it, I'm like...
That's the thing about Ben Hansen, is he agrees with things, and when you really grill him on it, he's like, I must admit, I did not care for Taskmaster.
Yeah, sorry guys, Fantasy Tactics, that's for dorkos. But also Silent Hill F, that's on the YouTube channel, Haley and Sarah playing through the first 4 hours of those games. I know. So you can check that out on YouTube, and you can tune in this Friday if you want to watch them live in the evening on Twitch, continuing their journey through Silent Hill F. All right, that's it. Jason Schreier, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Triple click if you want to hear more from him, or check out his book if you want to get inside of his brain and learn the history of Blizzard and a bunch of other fun topics. All right, that's it. We'll be back next week for a whole new episode. Thanks so much, everybody.
Real quick, Chat wants to know you hate Silk Song, right?
Hey, never mind. Be good, have fun, let's go.